episode of the Whiteboard Game. The boys talk about music from films. It's time to do this. Alright, this is the Whiteboard Game podcast, episode 10. We're in double digits now.
Double
That's very
digits.
Cool. As always, I'm joined by mi amigo.
Changed language there. Sorry, you went to German. Mi amo Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
Te amo?
Chris. Welcome back. Happy to have you back. What do we say at the start of episodes? We go over what the game is.
Yeah, a little breakdown for people who can't be bothered to look at the description.
We've been doing this for 10 episodes now. You thought that I wouldn't forget these important things. So this is a game in which we show each other music. 10 extracts to be precise.
10.
And what we like to do, we don't have to do this, but we like doing it. We like to guess the music the other person's chosen for us. We have to guess the band or the artist, maybe the composer. We have to guess the title of the song or piece. We have to guess the genre it is within the confines of, roughly. We're quite lenient with that.
Yeah, quite lenient.
And then the year, which, again, we're fairly lenient on.
There are ranges for, there are rules.
More lenient depending on earlier. If you need to know anything more, there's probably descriptions somewhere where we've put all the information you need to know about it. But aside from that, we're going to get into this. Briefly, how have you been, Fred?
I've been well, thank you. What's been going on? Undertaking a law course, that can be quite tedious. Amongst the plethora of sort of grave scenarios and problematic blockades that Brexit has introduced to the country. I don't need to say what my opinion on Brexit is. I think I've probably already made it quite obvious from what I've just said. But there is a unit of law called English Legal System and Constitution Law. And I would have saved probably about 10 hours, maybe even 20 hours over the last 2 weeks of my time if Brexit hadn't happened. Because I'm now learning about politics because of it, which is not what I'm not paying money to learn about politics. It's fine. It's just it's very tedious. Whiteboard Game is a lovely reprieve from such things. Last we had this. We've had a gig at the workshop in Shoreditch.
We might have had a couple. I can't remember.
Have we spoken about? Was it the one before the Inner Circle?
Yeah.
Have we spoken about that one?
No, we haven't spoken about this one.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Which one would you like to talk about?
Which one would you like to talk about?
I mentioned the workshop first. I'll talk about workshop.
Okay.
You talk about Inner Circle. So, this was the one that came after. And actually, you know what? No, you go first because it makes more sense to do it chronologically. I've said how I am. Chris, how have you been?
I'm fine. Been to Scotland recently. It was very nice.
You can tell by his accent.
I picked it up very quickly.
Yeah.
And came back and picked up my normal accent very quickly.
Very quickly.
I'll keep it brief. The Inner Circle gig was very good. I'd say we probably both agree it's one of our favourite gigs we've done.
It was brilliant.
There was a lovely intimacy about it. It was on a boat, which was probably one of the coolest things about it.
It was a floating gig.
Yeah, every now and then you could feel a little bit of a wobble.
And you can hear occasionally wind kind of hit the bow of it, and it really howls through it.
Yeah, it was an interesting space. Lots of nice people came to watch our stuff. We played with a lot of nice musicians.
Yes,
we enjoyed it a lot. We'd like to do it again.
We probably will.
So, stay tuned for when we do it again. How's the workshop?
The workshop, firstly, it was a surprise. I think if people are listening who are from London, which I suppose is probably maybe the majority of our audience currently, you'll know about Shoreditch. If you don't, it's nice, but it's always bubbling. It's very busy. There's a lot going on. It feels quite chaotic. And so because of that, it's not always the kind of place you want to stop and go, oh, that looks like a nice establishment kind of thing. You've got to keep moving. It's one of them. You keep moving. And there's a place called The Star, which to me from the outside looks like a club. If you don't go up too close to it, it looks like a club. And the sound of Video Twin isn't really for a club, I would say. But they have a space downstairs called The Workshop. And it's like an 80 capacity if you want to sardine everyone. Maybe 60, 50 if you're being
comfortably.
Generous. Yeah. Very small, very intimate. And it was a gig that got progressively heavier throughout the night. But that being said, I thought I was going to, find it really discordant, sort of as you get into sort of metal stuff. I actually didn't mind it. I wouldn't say I loved it. I wasn't there going, oh, this is it. This is the sound I've been waiting for. But it surprised me at how much I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. We heard Tequila Plunge Pool. They were quite nice, almost post-rocky at times.
Shout out to those guys. Yeah, we really enjoyed their set.
You had Nocturnal Sun. You had, is it When They Riot?
When They Riot, I think is the name of the band.
And then Frank Richard. Yes. They were all very good. Nice space, quite hidden. It was pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something we said it would have worked very well as like more of an intimate sort of space, especially
if they choose to do that, it would be really good.
Given the small venue size, I think, if you get loud acts and you're filling that small spaces, it's arguably overkill.
It could be.
Like we've played at another spot in Shoreditch called 93 Feet East, and that's a big stage, and that
cannoning acoustics.
It really caters well to bigger acts. And I think those smaller spaces probably work quite nice if you've got more low key acts, a bit like us. It was nice. Anything more you wanted to say about it?
The only thing I can think of, because you make a good point, that if it got really loud, it might be quite uncomfortable. I don't know if you know of the many years old now, but iconic clip. Or is it like some kind of underground metal gig at a Denny's somewhere in the US?
Not heard of this. No.
Look it up. It's like a mosh pit at a Denny's somewhere. It's iconic, right? If someone out there will know what I'm talking about. And it's the completely wrong space for it. And I'm imagining this is what it could be like if you packed that space with a full 80 people and they all wanted to headbang. And suddenly you've got strangers running about punching each other at a Denny's and everything. And it's just mental. And it's gone down in music meme history for how absurd it is. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
But all in all, 2 really good gigs.
Yeah.
The theatre ship, especially within a circle, just such a special venue.
Yeah, we've got one coming up in November, which technically we can't talk about because this will be going up in December. But it's at the Spice of Life, and that'll be nice. We do have one afterwards in December. On the 7th of December, I believe.
The 5th, I thought.
Okay, it might be the 5th. Yeah, I can't remember. And that is in Elephant and Castle. And it's a gig in which we have chosen I can never remember the name. A support act, yeah. So it will be nice to play with them. We haven't played with them before.
No, but we know them quite well.
We know them very well, yeah. So that would be nice. You'll be able to come to that. Please do. We could do with making a good impression.
50% off food, a free tequila free margarita, pardon me, on entry. And buy one get one free cocktails, I think.
Okay, so if
you're on the VIP list, especially,
if alcohol appeals to you, it might be your sort of night.
Or half price food. You don't have to be an alcoholic. It's fine.
Everyone loves cheaper food, right?
Mexican, are you into that?
That's why I'm so into chicken shops. Anyways,
he is, guys. It's a problem.
Let's get into the game. We've spoken for quite a bit.
Right.
So this is a game in which Fred wanted to do.
Now I'm going to lose.
And this that's not coming from a place of I don't want to do it. It's more coming from a place of I think it's not an idea I would have come up with.
Sure.
This is music in film, music for film, that sort of thing.
I'd say like iconic uses in our opinions of music within film.
I just pick music from films, I'll be honest.
I see.
They're not necessarily iconic.
This is why mine was easier. It probably wasn't easier, it's fine.
So yeah, hopefully that I think it'll be nice because we're not just talking about music, we'll be talking about films as well.
Yeah,
and maybe a little bit about why we like the films,
it might mean
why we
something
don't like
to
the
us.
films.
Yeah.
So you'll get 2 for 1 in this episode. Hopefully that doesn't mean it's a 5-hour recording, but the last one was about 2.5, so I'm hoping that it's not going to be that long.
Went away from us, that one, didn't it? Yeah.
So we'll try to keep it brief, saying that we have spoken quite a bit. So
there is a Joker.
I'll leave it by saying, Joker.
So go on.
No, please. You brought it up.
And that is... Well, I said music from television instead of film. Chris has interpreted that and he's made it very obscure. I haven't quite figured out what he means.
Well, it's still,
yet.
When you say music from television, it's still music from television. I think I interpreted it as more so you initially thought about TV series.
I did, yes.
Mine isn't from a TV series, but it is from television. And it will become clearer when I say it.
It might be the sound his television makes when he turns it on, guys. This is, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you've heard them, so you would know.
I've heard what?
You've heard the extracts.
Oh, God, I thought you meant like I've heard the sound of all televisions turning on before. Which I have, famously.
So that's the game. Get ready for it, as we're about to do it now. Who went first? I think you go first this time.
Okay, this is the only one I've got, for sure. So, as I spoke to you about this...
Oh, wait, hold up.
Oh?
No, I go first, sorry.
Retracted. Right.
Okay. Wait, I'm really confused now. I'm confused now. So you guessed mine first.
That is not my son.
Right, yeah, okay, no, I'm with you. Yeah, so I guess yours first. Yeah. Okay, I've confused myself a bit there. All right, let's have a listen to yours again. So, this sounded like a very soft singer whose voice I know somewhat well. I've listened to 2 of his albums.
Oh, have you?
I think, yeah.
You've done Seven Swans?
Yeah, I've done Seven Swans and Illinois.
Oh, of course, Illinois, yes. Yeah.
I like him. I'm surprised I haven't got more to his stuff, but this is who I believe to be Sufjan Stevens. He's got the very sort of reserved, subtle voice.
Yeah.
Very sweet. I'm guessing it was called Blessed Be the Mystery of Love. He said that. And it felt like a poignant moment in the song to be the title of the song. Chamber pop or folk pop, I put 2015. I thought it might sort of be Carrie and Lowell sort of era.
Sure.
Don't know the film. Might be in one of those sad films.
One of those sad ones.
One of the sad ones.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they chose this song. That's what I've guessed. I haven't pasted it in. Let me do that quickly while you tell me what it is.
Well, you got 4 points.
I can change my answer. I got 4 points.
You got 4 points.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One for the film. No. Everything but the film. Yeah.
Wow.
Are we doing bonus points for guessing?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we should have established that. Yeah, if you guess the film or whatever it is properly, you get a bonus point.
Cool. So this is Sufjan Stevens. This is.
Okay.
I've given you the point for Mystery of Love.
Thank you.
Because you got it all in there. 2017, so you're in the range. Indie folk, like folk pop. That's fine. It does sound very Carrie and Lowell era. You're completely right. This is from a film called Call Me by Your Name. Have I seen this film, Chris?
I don't know. Have I watched it with you? Was that what it was meant to insinuate?
Do you think I've seen it?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I don't want to. It's a bit of an infamous film. It's
really?
Timothy Chalamet. It's not my favourite, but we'll leave that there. And it's about... No, I could be really wrong here. I want to say that it's about a young couple, boys, or men, I suppose, young men. And I think there's a bit... I think it's Chalamet's character. I haven't seen it. I think my sister has. I'm not sure. Where he takes a peach. And you know how men are gross?
Yeah. I think I know what you do.
He does something to the peach.
Okay, yeah. You don't need to say any more than that.
I'm going to leave it there.
I think we catch the drift.
He does something to the peach. And I think it's meant to be some kind of symbolism of young lust, but also love and sweetness and tenderness. There's probably something. There's probably something behind it that's more than just him doing that to a peach.
Of course.
But I think I take the more logical opinion, and hopefully the more popular opinion of it's grim. And so I don't want to think about that. And for that reason, amongst others, I don't really want to watch the film.
Okay.
I just knew that Sufjan Stevens contributed 3 or 4 tracks to this film. And as I said to you prior to us doing this podcast, actually beginning it, I was getting concerned as I was drafting my list of music to use that I hadn't got anything written in this century. And so I tried to think, are there any films I know of that have some really key musical moments provided, by songs written this century? And this was one of the ones I thought of. So there we are.
Cool.
4 points.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. I've heard of it. I didn't know it was more of an infamous film, but
I don't know if it's an infamous film. I think
is
it's
it more
just
of like an infamous scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Also not a fan of when stuff like that happens on screen. So you're in
generally, I don't like.
You're in good company. Yeah.
Okay, so this song was, I am right in saying, was heavily memed following the release of this film.
Okay.
It's not really a meme-worthy song. It's quite a sad one in a way, but this is Nirvana.
Yeah.
Something in the Way. Something in the way.
Yeah.
You do that very well.
Best part of the song, man.
I said 96. I'll be in the range, I presume. But grunge. Is it just the Batman? I think it's just the Batman.
Well, this should clear it up. You got 5 points.
It's downhill from here. Not just because it's full marks and you can't really get any higher than that. It is downhill from here.
Yeah, it's basically what you said. Yeah, Nirvana, Something in the Way.
Oh, I'm just in. Wow.
But grunge, or what, 91. I was confused when you said 96. I thought Nirvana were like trendsetters for like grunge and alt rock. What years did you think that
I get a bit confused with the years sometimes. I know just about, but I get a bit confused.
Yeah, that's fair. So it was 91. Came out with Nevermind.
Sure,
of course.
Which I have listened to.
And it was from the Batman. I'll talk about the song briefly first. I like this song because he says in the way that he does. I find it's humorous and likeable, and I think
he was a really likeable guy.
He was, yeah. He writes very depressing songs, but the more you learn about him, the more you think
he was of the people.
He was just a very normal. But I mean, I suppose if you do go in the way that he did, I guess you're not really normal. You're unwell, right? But
of course,
he was a common thinker. You might say.
Yeah. One of the few musicians in the last 30 years, 40 years, who in no way let any fame go to his head. I feel, other than I don't know if it contributed to his unwellness. Yeah. Oh yeah. But when you see him in interviews or when he's being spoken to, like during that famous MTV Unplugged show, he just seems so normal. Yeah. So human.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It is. Yeah. Rest in peace.
Of course.
Kurt. And I like that this one is a more sort of, I guess, closer one. In terms of like how it feels a bit more intimate. It does. It reminds me more of the sort of demo solo stuff that has sort of arisen in recent years. Something about just how dark it sounds that's really nice, and I think it works very well for a film as dark as The Batman.
The Batman, yes. I remember you saying you watched this. Yes.
Yeah. I think with most of the songs that I picked, they were from films that I've watched recently because it was more of like, I feel like I have more to say about them.
Okay.
Not all of them.
Okay.
Some of them are songs that are from pertinent films to me, or are pertinent songs from a film.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I watched it. I've wanted to watch this for quite a bit because I enjoy a good bit of Batman. And I think, when I say it's dark, I think it builds a lot more on the darkness of like the Dark Knight trilogy. I feel like a lot of people would say that was the first time that Batman was sort of taken in, that dark, bit more serious sort of direction. And I think with something like the Batman, like there's some scenes that are borderline horror. Basically,
I've been told this. Yeah.
There's one scene that occurs in a church, and I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but that's straight out of a horror film. All the performances, I think, are very good. I was surprised that I liked Robert Pattinson. Is it Robert? It is Robert Pattinson. Yeah, I'm surprised I liked him as much as Batman. I feel like it was one of those roles which I thought I don't really know how he's going to take to. But
similarly,
he's good. He's good. I think Paul Dano probably steals the show as the Riddler. Like,
that's not surprising.
I don't think the Riddler was in the Dark Knight trilogy.
I don't think so.
No, so I guess this might be the first time that he was taken in the direction that he has. I'm guessing the last person that played Riddler was Jim Carrey.
Which is not as serious a direction.
No, his was very goofy. Whereas the Riddler in this film is,
messed up.
Goodness me. Psychopathic doesn't even begin to describe it. And Paul Dano's so good in that role. When you were talking about the famous scene, I thought you were on about the one where Batman and the Riddler meet behind glass in prison. Didn't really like the ending of the film. I won't lie. It sort of felt like it pushed away from the elusiveness of the Riddler, moved in a direction which I thought didn't really give me the satisfying ending that you sort of want. I didn't think it was bad, but good film. Probably don't watch this film if you're not in a bad place, because it can be very dark. But yeah, big up to the makeup team for making Colin Farrell completely unrecognisable as well.
Yes, I've seen the pictures, yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But very good. Who plays Alfred? I remember this. He's a British bloke. God, I've completely forgotten his name. He's a really good actor as well.
In anything else?
He was in that Magician's film Christopher Nolan played as Nikola Tesla's assistant. I've completely forgotten his name, but he's a really good actor. I might have to move on. Sorry, that actor.
Sorry, Mr. Actor Man.
But he's very good. Anyways, yes, good film. I'm not going to say much more. 5 points. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Around the time of that film, that there was that news story I was quite fond of Robert Pattinson when he was being harassed by a stalker. He finally agreed. Like he took quite a creative route out of it by agreeing to take her out for a meal, which sounds quite risky. It's not really the thing you choose to do with a stalker. But I think, is it him? I think it's him. I'm not getting confused with Cillian Murphy, I don't think.
No, I think it is Robert Pattinson.
Do you know the story?
I think I've heard of this.
And he just bored her because he just kept talking about himself. And so he completely sort of just destroyed anything she felt for him, and that solved the problem. So it was genius.
It's definitely something you can't do if you're a big woman actor, I don't think.
I don't think so. I think men
that'd
are
be very
weird.
risky, yeah. But he is a weird bloke, Robert Pattinson. He absolutely adores Death Grips. I know this for certain.
Yes, there's that picture of him with them, isn't there? Yeah.
But I think he recorded guitar on a track for them as well.
That's
which
amazing.
Is really cool. But
he's in your area. Yeah. What can I say?
The actor I was thinking of was Andy Serkis.
He plays
Alfred. Yeah, I think he does a good job. Anyway, let me guess the next one. This was a song I'm pretty sure I first heard on the Whiteboard Game.
Really?
I think it was played by a friend of ours a bit ago. It is a song in which I'm annoyed about because on the album, it has the name of the song from this film.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. And I've completely forgotten the name of the film, which is annoying because that would have been a good 3 point, but I think it starts with like a Q or something.
Oh, I see why you've said that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's by Simon and Garfunkel. It's called Mrs. Robinson. I said folk rock. It's folky. 1968.
Yeah, spot on 4 points.
Thank you.
Not a single thing incorrect in any way. It's not a capital Q. The film, it's capital G, and I think they're a bit similar.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's called The Graduate.
Yeah.
It's such a good film, man. Look, there are a couple of actors. There are a handful of actors we all really love, right? I love Jim Carrey. He's great.
Yeah.
I quite like Bill Murray, actually. I like him. I like what's his face? The guy who plays the main antagonist in Grand Budapest Hotel.
I haven't watched that film. Ralph Fiennes is a protagonist, right?
He's the antagonist. No, sorry, other way around. So yes, so yeah, you're right. The protagonist, Ray Fiennes. Yeah, I'm thinking about the bad guy. Ray Fiennes, I do really like. I'll look his name up next time, but I like him as well. But then there are another two big boys I like. Tom Hanks, which I think is quite a safe choice, and another very safe choice, Dustin Hoffman. And this is a Dustin Hoffman film.
Oh, okay.
And he's quite young in this one.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's brilliant. It's about him. He's graduating school and he doesn't really know what to do with his life, and he's caught in a bit of a limbo, and he starts to be a part of an affair basically with an older married woman. And you've got a lot of iconic moments. The iconic line is, "You're trying to seduce me, aren't you, Mrs. Robinson?" Something I probably paraphrased it, but at one point he says that. And then I think because he finds himself somehow, because he's got no balls, he can't just walk out the house. He's home alone with her, and she's calling him up to the bedroom. And he's like, he knows he shouldn't go, but he goes up there, and then like suddenly the doors close. He's like, "Oh God, what's happening? Oh God, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you? Oh God!" And he turns around and suddenly she's just in stockings or something. And he just goes, "Oh Jesus!" And there's a bit where they meet at a hotel, because that's what people having affairs do. They meet at hotels. And it's just this I love it. It's one of my favourite bits. It's really awkward interaction with the guy at the front desk, the concierge. And the guy goes, "Do you have any luggage?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "Oh, can I take it?" "Oh, no, you don't need to do that." "Was it not in your car?" "No, I didn't come with a car." "Well, where's your luggage then?" It's just a toothbrush." "Well, where is it?" "Oh, it's in my car." "I thought you said you didn't come with a car." I did, but it's just a toothbrush." And then he goes out to make a phone call on I forget just a phone booth. So it's like an unknown number to her. She's already in the hotel room. And I'll be up in a second, whatever. And then he comes back in and he taps his breast pocket of his blazer and goes, "Got that toothbrush?" It's a really good film. I really recommend it. And I think it propelled Simon and Garfunkel. They were already well known, but this was like a big push to go, now you guys everyone knows who you are now.
That's really cool.
And I think, I don't know if this was not originally called Mrs. Robinson, but because the character is Mrs. Robinson, they were asked to do it, and they went, "Yeah, okay." And now it's iconic.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant song as well. Simon and Garfunkel at their best, I would say. Big 4 points. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Adrian Brody.
Oh,
there you go. I like him. I think he's quite good.
Yeah, Adrian Brody.
A Wes Anderson favourite, Adrian Brody.
They all have their favourites, don't they?
They do. It's Tim Burton and That's what I always think of. Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp. Those three always seem to show up together. Right, I couldn't quite figure out from this point on. As I say, it goes downhill. It all gets a bit hazy. And there were a lot of voices I recognised, but perhaps it's just I'm not really on it today. I don't know. We all have those days.
Yeah, we all have those days.
I think that there are probably some of these that should have been more obvious to me, but I just, for the life of me, I could have spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, but I knew I was just going to start wasting time. So I just kind of put a name down. I said Primal Scream. I know it's not right. Shine a Little Light on My Soul. 2013 indie rock. And there are a few films I thought it's better to put something down than leave it blank kind of thing.
Sure.
I put Kick-Ass. I don't know why.
It feels like it might be a bit of a kick-ass film, doesn't it? Yeah. No, this is from a band who I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't heard of.
Oh, okay.
I think they are quite big, but I mean, I hadn't heard of them before this. They're called the Black Keys.
Yeah. Yeah. Black Keys, I call them a radio band. Is how I describe the Black Keys. They're a radio band.
I haven't given you any points. Let me see. You can have 2 points.
Borderlands.
You can have 2 points.
Thank you very much.
Shine a Little Light is the name of the song. I put indie pop. Blues rock is the big one, I think.
I think, for Black Keys now, you've said it's Black Keys,
2019 is when it came out, from the Borderlands film. Now, firstly I'll say I don't mind the song. I think the song is okay. I think it's it's all right. It gave me a lot of Justice vibes, actually.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I mean, Justice vibes without like the interesting sampling. But,
without the interest, yes.
It's all right. It's not something I listen to a lot, but it's all right. But it is very Borderlandsy.
Sure.
I don't know if you've played the games, but
I haven't, but I know of them.
A lot of the music that you might get, not so much in the games, but in like the titles and the credits of the games, you get these very rocky sort of songs. And so I can understand why they chose to use this. I'm not sure if it was in Borderlands 3, because I'm guessing it would have come out before then. Anyways, the Borderlands film, yes. No, this was... I'll start off by saying I'm a big Borderlands franchise fan. I've played all the mainline games, really enjoy it. Borderlands 2 is one of the games I probably sink the most hours into. I think it's fantastic. So I was half looking forward to this new Borderlands film, mainly because I've played the games, but a part of me is also saying it is, again, a game film. And
so it might not be
very
that
likely going to be bad.
Right, I see. Okay.
I didn't mind the Mario film.
I haven't seen that.
But I think what it did well weren't necessarily things it was actively trying to do well. It was just a bit more charming than I think people were expecting.
Sure. With
the Borderlands film, very little redeeming qualities, in my opinion. It was one of the worst film experiences I've ever had.
Ever?
If I'm being honest.
Who's in it?
What's her name? Cate Blanchett plays Lilith. Who, to be fair, I think she does quite good in the role. I think quite a lot of people didn't like the character, but that's just because Lilith is a bit of sort of like an arrogant...
Okay.
I guess like feminist sort of character, not like
inverted commas,
not like
kind of
feminist
thing.
in terms of like what she's teaching,
but
in terms of like if you were a feminist, you'd go, this is a cool character.
Oh, okay, so it's forced in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think in the games they do it well. Whereas, in the film, I think they did it okay as well. I think Cate Blanchett actually does quite a good job as Lilith. I'll narrow it down to just a couple of points. First thing is they absolutely did a big doo-doo on the lore in the film. It was more so that they just took characters from the film, took locations, and then made a film out of it.
Sure.
Which doesn't aim to do anything well, because people who are coming to see the film not knowing about the characters will be like, well, I don't really know who these people are. Why did they act the way that they do? And then the people who, like me, are watching it because they like Borderlands, are watching it going...
Feel quite unfulfilled.
Bloodshot Stronghold isn't in this location relative to the film? What is going on? This guy was never the head of the Atlas Corporation. What is going on? And so it's jarring when you watch it.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't know how many films you've watched of Jamie Lee Curtis in. I've heard she's quite a good actor.
I quite like Jamie Lee Curtis, to be honest.
Yeah, dreadful in this role.
That's such a shame.
She plays. Do you know what? To be fair, she plays a role who in the game she isn't massively. She's very important to the story of Borderlands. Okay. She's called Tannis, but she's not one of the more interesting characters.
Okay.
And I think, do you know what sort of irked me was with her character, they sort of made her a little bit lewder. Tannis is like the biggest introvert in like in the game. Okay. Basically, she's not meant to be lewd in any sort of way, and they made her a little bit lewd. And I thought this just
creative license goes too far.
It just pangs of you haven't played the games. I don't think the guy who played the Atlas CEO is a very good actor, if I'm being honest. I think Roland was poorly cast. They chose Kevin Hart, even though Roland is the most for a gaming franchise that's very jokey. Roland is like the most serious character in it, and they cast Kevin Hart,
who's a funny man.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
Last thing I'll say is I think it felt very much that they just sort of picked all the interesting characters. A lot of the characters are interesting from Borderlands, but the very, very interesting characters, and put them all in one film, which doesn't make sense because you've got characters like Krieg, who in the games, one of the more creative characters, very, very interesting. But in the films, he's so underused that you're watching. I feel like for someone who doesn't know Borderlands is watching it going, why the hell is this guy here? He's got no relevancy to the plot at all.
Yes, yeah.
They made the character Tiny Tina, who in the games is very animated and quite funny, into just a very annoying child actor sort of character. Just very, very few things this film did well. Stay away from video games. Let us have video games for ourselves, and you can make an actually interesting film that's based on your own creative ideas if you have any. Please don't make another film like this again. From me, thank you. There you go, and that's rant over.
Signed, Chris London. Yes.
Yeah, I paid money to watch that.
Well, that's always the thing, isn't it? That's always the thing. I know that when I went to see the D&D film, whilst it wasn't like, it didn't blow me away.
I've heard decent things about it, to be fair.
It did it justice, you know, because there was at least one person on that team who had a respect for what D&D was. So different classes of character acted like the classes should. The mechanics were represented quite well. There was kind of like in-jokes. If you played the game, you go, oh, that's really cool that they've included that. That's funny. I'll laugh because I get it. Yeah. And I appreciated that. Exactly. So when you get something on the opposite end of the scale, which kind of just feels like it's like a facsimile of it. It's someone who just hasn't got it at all. What are you doing this other than to get money out of a fan base kind of thing? That is upsetting.
Yeah. It was a shame, but oh well. We move. Your next one, it was a very jazzy one.
Sure.
And it had a very sort of jazzy love title, so I have reason to believe that your girlfriend has introduced this to you. I initially had a year closer to the 50s.
Okay.
Because I thought, stylistically, that's how it feels. Like I don't know if pop jazz is a term.
Yeah, it must be.
The sort of like the male crooner sort of jazz.
Exactly.
You'd hear Frank Sinatra singing on something like this. Could not think of a singer from that time who I would associate with this sort of stuff. Like, I could think of jazz singers, but I was like, I don't think it's Ella Fitzgerald. I don't think it's Nina Simone. So I ended up going a little bit later, thinking maybe it's just in the style of, and I guessed Celine Dion, just because I could not think of anyone. So disregard that as a bad guess. I Believe in Love, I guess, was the name of the song. Yeah, as I say, I put pop jazz in 1985. This could be a very bad guess. I'm going to keep my ears closed for the next 5 seconds. 1 point?
1 point.
Okay. Could be worse.
No donuts.
Appreciate that.
For the genre, because it is that kind of pop jazz thing where it's jazzy, but it's not jazz.
Yeah, it's like the 50s pop.
Exactly. When you went see of Celine Dion, I thought you were going to get it, and I was about to be stunned. It's Cilla Black.
Cilla Black? I think I've heard of Cilla Black.
He's not with us anymore, fortunately, in nasty circumstances, I believe. Let me fact check myself very quickly.
Sure.
Cut this out the recording.
Well, when you said Sid, I thought you say something like Sydney Sweeney, and I was going to be like, she can sing.
Wait a minute, what? I think she suffered a stroke. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's sad. Quite tragic.
I'm not sure, but I've put there in brackets, Burt Bacharach, because I think he wrote it, as he wrote most things. Incredible man. It's called Alfie. 1966.
Should have known.
Pop. Alfie. Why are you saying that?
Well, because she said No, as in, I didn't know there was a film called Alfie, but she said Alfie a lot in the song, and I should have known that was the name of it.
I thought you were about to reveal that you knew the lore I'm about to give you, which I didn't think I'd ever told you before. But here we go. So this is not introduced to me by Becky, and I haven't seen the film, actually.
Sure.
It's a Michael Caine film.
Okay.
Michael Caine.
Does he play Alfie?
He does play Alfie. Good. Okay. There is a baby in this film. That baby is my dad.
Really?
Yeah, legit.
Genuinely?
Yeah.
That's flipping cool, man.
Because the director is was Lewis Gilbert. He's not alive either anymore, unfortunately. But he did a couple of the Bond films as well. So pretty successful director. Family friend of Dad's family. Dad's the baby in this film. It's not a major role, and I'm not sure he gets a credit in it, but when you see a baby, that's my father.
I didn't know about this. Firstly, how have you not watched this film?
I should have, shouldn't I?
Yeah. No, that's poor.
I don't know why I haven't. Apparently, it's a pretty good film as well.
Yeah. Do you know if he, does good in the film, your dad?
I think he plays a brilliant baby, actually. Okay. I think he does really well. Snubbed at the Oscars. But it's a stellar performance. The kind of, because it's already a very cool piece of family lore, but it kind of gets round off quite nicely when Dad did go to Lewis Gilbert's funeral.
Oh, nice.
And he somehow, I just don't know, he just mustered up the courage. Not to say that he doesn't really suffer anxiety anyway, but he saw Michael Caine and just went, right, okay, and he walked up to him and he went, do you remember me by any chance? And Michael Caine went, no, mate, I'm sorry. And I think Dad kind of sung the main titles from Alfie. Michael Caine just went, oh my God, you're the baby, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Yeah. I think that was the extent of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has guts to sing it to Michael Caine.
To Michael Caine.
And not just say, I was the baby in this film. That takes guts, to be fair.
And to do it at a funeral as well.
Yeah.
Fair play. But there you go. I thought, I was making this list, I thought, this is when I asked Dad for suggestions, and he went, have you put Alfie in there? And I went, I haven't, but what an opportunity I'm giving away here.
I've known you for, when did I first? I've known you for 7 years.
Wow.
Never told me that.
Don't know why I never told
me that.
It's not the kind of thing that comes up in conversation,
That's true,
really.
To be fair. So it's more like a 2 truths, 1 lie sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, my dad was in a film with Michael Caine. Yeah. I should probably tell, I don't know if I ever told Becky's dad that, who is an actor. He'll probably find that interesting. I don't know. But 1 point, yes. No donuts here. No donuts here.
That is, I think I couldn't stop smiling for the whole of your answer.
It's mental, right? It's mental.
Crazy.
It is he just plays a baby, and as you know, Chris, sat opposite me now, it has not propelled the family into riches and fame and fortune.
Yeah. He didn't quite get the monetary gain he was worth in that film.
Well, I don't, he could have gone on to play all the babies in the films, and
not for very long.
Well, yeah, but then he could have become a child actor, and then I could have had a father who was incredibly annoying, but I don't. So in a way, it worked out for the best. So I believe I did actually recognise this voice for your third one. I'm hoping I did anyway. I thought this was Bon Iver. I think he said Fakers at one point. I don't know. Now, I know he's featured in quite a few films. Not that he's necessarily written for them, but that he just gets featured quite a lot because he's got that kind of sound, I suppose. I said 2011 indie folk or folktronica. He's featured in one of the Twilights. I haven't seen the Twilights, so I just put Twilight.
It's not from Twilight, but you're exactly right. It is Bon Iver. I had a feeling that you'd probably. I had a feeling you'd probably get the answer. I feel like you're more of a Bon Iver guy than I am.
I have done his big three, is what I'm going to put it. Yeah. This
one's called Second Nature. Yeah, I put folk rock, folk pop, indie folk, probably more on it, I'd say. 2021, it's a very new one. It's from a film called Don't Look Up.
Yes.
It's a Netflix original. I don't know if you've seen it.
I know of it quite well, but I haven't seen it.
This is the ending credits song.
Cool.
The film is about a scientist. It's probably more specific than a scientist. It's a girl played by Jennifer Lawrence. She's at university, and she discovers that a comet is crashing into Earth, basically, and her and her lecturer, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, is trying to tell the world about it. And it's meant to be an absurdist take on it because people aren't taking it seriously.
Cool.
I've probably watched maybe 2 or 3 apocalypse films now. I don't know what my parents are trying to tell me.
They know.
But I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Pretty good film. I think a lot of the character roles were very good. Leonardo, I mean, we know he's a very good actor, but I think he does very, very good in this role. It feels a little bit different to some of the other ones that he's done. I feel like his character is meant to be a little bit more dad-like and homely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm watching this thinking the last film I saw him in was Killers of the Flower Moon, and that is a incredibly different role. So yeah, props to
Leo.
that guy. Yeah, I don't have loads. Do you know what? Timothée Chalamet is also in this film.
He pops up.
He does. He manages to find a way. I don't think he's, compared to other roles I've seen him in, I don't think he's that bad in this film. There's other roles that I didn't think he was very good in the first June film.
Controversial.
The second one I thought he was a bit better, but he's not an actor I like particularly.
No.
If I were a girl, I might like him a bit more. I'll put it that way.
You see, if I'm being critical, I think that's where a lot of the success may come from, but
Possibly.
we'll leave it there.
Possibly. But yeah, no, it's a good film. I think the ending is very good. Again, I'm trying to say a lot of this without spoiling things. It's very, again, comparatively to what I was talking about with the Batman, it's very satisfying, this ending. It feels right, and I feel like with apocalypse films, that's probably the most important part of the film.
Yeah,
is the ending.
of course.
So yeah, no, they do it well. I would recommend it. It's a Netflix original, so if you have Netflix, it's not going anywhere. Basically, it's not leaving Netflix anytime soon. So I would recommend. It's good. This song by Bon Iver, it's nice. I think this was the point where we decided that this was the game we were going to do, and so I was watching films, listening to see if I was going to pick a song from it.
I see.
And there were a few that I could have used, but I ended up going on the Bon Iver. I think it was written for this film.
That's cool.
I have a feeling.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'll leave it there because I feel like a lot of my answers are going to be very long, so I'm going to try and not make a lot of them very long. So yeah, you can have 3 points.
3?
No, 2. Sorry.
I'll say.
I can't read.
A bit of a problem for this game, of course.
Right. So I need to guess this, don't I? Let me think. This is a popular song.
It is a popular song.
I think I remember who made it.
Ooh.
But I think this was the one which I was telling you when we were doing the game that I was stuck between two very similarly named bands.
Okay.
I thought the band started with Simple.
Okay.
I thought, well, for first thing that came to my mind was Simply Red, but that's just because of Simple. And so the smirk you've just given me makes me feel bad. But
no, sorry, I wasn't meant to. I wasn't meant to, sorry.
I also had the feeling that it was by a band whose last name was Minds.
Okay.
So I thought it might be Simple Minds. I think they're a band, I don't know.
Sure.
It might be Simply Red, and I might have kicked myself in the foot. Don't You Forget About Me. I don't know if that's actually the name of the song. I just know that that's the big part of it.
Yes.
New Wave Synth Pop 1986.
4 points.
Yes,
he's done brilliantly. It is Simple Minds.
Simple Minds.
Don't you forget about me. Ba-da-da. A brilliant song in its own right, in my opinion.
There's ones that probably everyone's heard at some point.
I think that's fair. 1985, just a year over. Very well done. It's pop rock, new wave. Pretty much what we both said. The Breakfast Club, which I feel is, within the genre of coming of age film, one of the classics. Right? I think it deserves to be regarded as a classic. And again, I'm not going to talk too much, but I like the film. I probably like it more for the fact that it's a classic rather than anything that's groundbreaking within it. I just think it's survived the test of time, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it deserves to. It's about some kids in a school. I don't know if it's they haven't done the work that they're meant to or whatever, but they don't really know each other. They're all from very different friend groups.
Okay.
And very different phases. Like, one's a bit quieter, one's kind of like this, like a jock or whatever you might say, this kind of thing. One secretly likes one of them and all of this. And because it's in America, the principal, he kind of locks them in the library or something. He goes, right, you're staying in there, and either it's a punishment or it's like you're getting some work done. I can't quite remember. And they try and like break out of the library and all of that. It's just pure coming of age, because they all kind of learn about themselves and they learn to get on with each other as well. And this is the bit when they get out the library finally at the end of the day, because he unlocks it, I think. And they're all leaving, and you know they're all changed and they're all closer than they could have ever imagined. And then you get this song, which is "Don't Forget About Me." Whatever happens, you know, remember what we taught each other today, kind of thing. It's one of those that you end and you physically can't have a problem with the film. You're not there you're not raving, going, it was amazing, it was brilliant. But there is no way you finish that film and go, I mean, it was all right. Like, you finish it and go, that was good. I feel happy for watching that. It's a happy film.
It's a happy film. That's
like,
good.
Not like a big grinner, but like, you finish it and go, as I said, there is no way you finish that and feel down or anything. It's warm. Good film. I'll leave it there. Cool. Good film. 4 points.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel it's one of those films that you hear about and you think, I probably have to watch it.
It is. It is one of those.
You need to remember to watch it.
Okay, so, again, this was another case of me recognising the voice, but not enough. So I put something which, again, I know is wrong. But there was a slight gruffness to the voice. And so I tried to go for another band with a lead singer that has a slight gruffness. So I said the Stereophonics, who are also Welsh. So I think that gives more reason why it's not correct. I'm Not Here is what I said. 2010. Indie rock, art rock, and this I threw, man. I just didn't know what film it was, so I said Talladega Nights, otherwise known as The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, featuring Will Ferrell, which is a good film.
I've not even watched that film.
It's funny, it's good, it's mental. It's about F1 driving and all of that. Will Ferrell and Sacha Baron Cohen, it's insane.
Okay, yeah, this is... I might have to watch that. This is by someone called John Resnick.
Okay, no, I don't know who that is.
Have you heard of a band called the Goo Goo Dolls?
Yeah.
He's the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, I have heard of the Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah.
Who, I mean, do you know, I've known this song for a while, but I didn't know who he was until a good friend of ours, Tom Chong, he really likes the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, I didn't
and
know
so
that.
that's how I found out that he was a singer, basically.
Cool.
The song is called I'm Still Here, in brackets Jim's theme. I don't know if he says I'm still here in it.
I don't know how I've got that then.
Most of the time he says I'm not here.
So he does actually... Flipping John.
I mean, this is just very, very alt rock in it.
It is,
2002. It's from a film called... I mean, if you're listening to this now going, I know what this song's from.
My favourite film.
It might be, if it's that good, it might be your favourite film.
Oh, is it actually a good film?
Have you seen Treasure Planet?
No, I don't think
You Have Not Lived.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. It is... I think it's a Disney film.
Okay.
It's a retelling of the Robert Louis Stevenson classic book,
I have
Treasure
not seen
Island.
this.
You've not seen it?
I
Mate,
no idea what this is.
Get on it. This film is, as I say, it's a retelling of the book by Robert Louis Stevenson,
Sure.
Treasure Island.
Iconic.
It is an iconic book, yeah, and I think I don't know where to start with this film. Really. I'll start with the song, I think. So this is like typical like alt rock angsty teen sort of music. It
sounds it, yeah.
Which I think most people probably listen to and go, I don't really like it.
Okay.
But
that's fair.
The fact that it's in this film sort of validates it. Because
how good is this film, man?
Because Jim is quite a young character. He starts off in the film as sort of like a young whippersnapper, sort of, again, angsty sort of teen. I can't describe to you anything that happens in this film because all of it is just massively sci-fi.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
When I say something like he's hoverboarding, and there's a moment in the start of the film where he goes through, it's like a wheel that's turning in like an industrial sort of point.
This doesn't sound like Treasure Island at all.
he just wants an adventure, basically.
I don't remember that happening in Treasure Island.
So this song is his theme because there's a moment in the middle of the film where him and is the pirate called Long John Silver? Yeah. So I think he's got the same name in this film. There's a whole segment of this film that's dedicated to their relationship and how they get sort of closer.
Okay.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of the film is about their relationship,
sure.
And the book generally as well, from what I gather. And there's this whole segment where they're sort of getting closer. They're doing work on the flying ship that they're on that's taking them to the treasure planet.
The flying ship, God.
And they're sort of getting closer, and this is in the background. And again, it's very of its time, maybe aged to a certain extent, but the angsty teen element of it makes it so warming because you're thinking, this is like something which you'd imagine Jim's doing his work on the ship and he's got his headphones in and this is what he's listening to.
Right, okay.
Basically.
Okay, that works. That's cool.
And it's really nice, yeah. More about the film. The spaceport that they take off from is sick because it's like they've shaped it like a crescent moon, and it's got like all architecture on it, and ships are taking off and stuff, as you would imagine at a spaceport. It's just one of those films which, I don't know, if I were like a massive spiritualist, then I'd probably go, this is a film you feel, man.
Okay.
This isn't a film you watch. This is a film you feel. I need to rewatch it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Watched it when I was, of course, very young.
It's got that nostalgia factor.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's one of those films where you watch when you're older and you go, you know what, it can still be nostalgic.
It stands up to it.
It does stand up.
That's
it absolutely
so good.
stands
That's
up.
so lovely.
And I think this was in a beautiful period where Disney were happy to use creative licenses on films like this, readaptations of books, and turn them into something completely different, but also very true to the book as well. And it's creative. It's sick. It's really good. It's a really good film. I really like it, and I'm gonna have to rewatch it at some point.
I think I didn't realise it. I kind of did. that I knew I was going to start talking about some of the films I've chosen, going, man, I should watch this again. It's happened to you, which is lovely.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably going to happen more, if anything. So, yeah, for the sake of not saying the same thing over and over again, I'll stop there. And yeah, you get... I'll give you... I don't know if we say... I'll give you half a point for the title.
It's your prerogative.
So I'll give you 1.5.
Okay. It's very generous.
I feel like it's probably fair. I don't think he says it in the song. And I didn't use a part of the song where he says it, so...
Well, it's your call. It's your call.
You can take the point.
You sure?
Yeah, don't make me change my mind.
I will not. I will not, thank you.
This next song... I think this is probably one of two in which I could... Do you know, it's these two in a row.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Interesting.
That I have a very good chance of upsetting, offending...
I see why.
Being borderline naughty. I think saying borderline naughty is probably too low of a term. It was a song in which I have no gauge for who it's by.
Yeah.
Barely a gauge for where it's from. I have a feeling where it's from, but outside of that, this could be a very bad answer. I guessed Ennio Morricone because I thought, do you know what? He's a film composer. He might do something like that.
I respect that. That's a really good answer.
I have called this in sort of a weird hark back to the Carlos Eduardo ensemble. I've called this the El Paso Tango. So we've both got our crowning borderline racist whiteboard game moments.
That will at some point be clipped up into a short. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a genre term. I put Mexicana.
That is, yes. I think that is a genre term, yes.
Cool, because it felt like Mexican folk. What I would imagine Mexican folk to be like. Slash folk. And then I don't know why I put 1953, to be honest. That's just there. That exists now. You can give me a donut, that's fine.
I want to give you a point for the use of the word folk.
Thank you.
Because it is folk music. Not necessarily Mexican, but it is folk music.
Well, here we go. I'm currently 0 for 1, could be 0 for 2.
Well, if I tell you the composer's name, it will give it away immediately.
Okay. Is it European?
Yes.
Okay.
Mikis Theodorakis.
Ah, so it's Greek.
It is Greek, yes. Mikis Theodorakis. This is Zorba's Dance from the film Zorba the Greek.
Okay.
1964. I think it actually invented a dance called the Sitaki dance.
That's cool.
But I've said Greek traditional or bouzouki music because that's the guitar being used. It's a stringed instrument. It looks like a balalaika kind of thing.
That's very cool.
But that is like the Greek Cypriot guitar in inverted commas of choice. Fretted stringed instrument of choice. Again, I haven't seen this film, but I've chosen it for a very specific reason in that...
You are Greek.
Yeah. Greek Cypriot, guys. Come on. But when people think of Greek music, this is like the stereotypical choice, right? If you think of like traditional Greek music, it will always come to Zorba's Dance. Every single time. What's wrong?
Yeah. No, I just remembered I thought it was Mexican.
Are you listening to it again?
No. I'm just thinking about it in terms of the fact that it is Greek.
Yes.
And I thought it was Mexican.
It genuinely, I think it cannot get more Greek than this.
I thought I wasn't too... Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. I'll just probably come across the wrong way.
Well, no. You're not far off in that when you say Mexican, it's kind of Spanish, which is not far from Greece. It just so happens that Mexico, unfortunately for you, is on another continent, so it doesn't look good. But I've chosen this because I am going to use what it's like the stereotypical choice, which has a connotation of it being bad. But I know that in my family, we all love this, because it's really fun as well. It's really fun, and I need to watch the film. When you listen to the soundtrack, you've got a bit of the film before that, and it's. I think Zorba is a young man, I think.
Okay.
I think. and you hear him kind of saying to another character, going, "You got to teach me how to dance. Oh, you want to learn how to dance? Come, boy, teach you how to dance."
Nice. Yeah.
If you go up to any, at least like Greek Cypriot English person, and you say Zorba's dance, they will go, yeah, Zorba's dance. Zorba the Greek man. And because of that, even though I've got no relation to this film other than where it's from, I do feel proud of the song in a way because it's a lot of fun and it makes me think of Mum's parents and it makes me think of Cyprus, and it has a lot of good memories for it because I know we've had a bit of a giggle and a dance to this with Mum's parents and stuff at times before, you know. And the bouzouki is such a lovely sounding instrument as well. It's just so bright. And I'll leave it there.
Cool.
It gave me an opportunity to speak about being Greek Cypriot, and that's all I really wanted. So, thank you.
You're welcome. So you can speak about your lovely heritage, and I can speak about how I'm borderline racist.
You're not. Let it be known that the Carlos Eduardo Ensemble came before you ever did.
But
this.
Here's the thing: that was the same continent. I feel like this is just sort of like, do you listen to music, mate?
Well, no. I think. Well, now you know what a bouzouki sounds like, so I can't catch you out with that again.
Is a bouzouki specifically Greek?
I think so.
Okay.
But then it's kind of one of those things where, for instance, there's a lot of crossover, a lot of contentious crossover between obviously Greece, Cyprus, and Turkey. So, for instance, with food, very often if you talk about like Cypriot souvlaki or Greek gyros, a Turkish person in a comment section on Instagram of someone cooking that food will go, "Oh, nice kebabs you made there." So I know that it's not impossible for me to say, "Oh yeah, bouzouki's a Greek instrument," and then someone come in and go, "Oh, that's weird, that isn't it?" Yeah, because I've seen some lovely bouzouki's in Istanbul. Yeah, so it's not impossible that I'm wrong there. Right, so let's move on from Chris being
Please
a bigot.
do, yeah, please.
So, it's a similar logic to your answer for Alfie, where I know it's a certain era of music, but I can't really figure out the voice of who it is. So I said Al Green, which is probably wrong, but you know, Me and My Baby, 1972. I said classic R&B, pop, that kind of thing. I have watched When Harry Met Sally at least once, and it's a good film, and I don't remember this being in it, but it's that kind of film which I would expect it to be in.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a love film, you know? So, rom-com vibe.
That's fair, yeah. I'll give you a point for this.
Thank you.
Now.
Have I done something really silly?
No, I've got to explain a few things. Okay. So this is my Joker, first of all.
Oh, okay.
So this is the TV
We know I've lost another point somewhere else, then that's good.
I don't know if you've heard this before on the TV somewhere.
You've done something very tricky here. What have you done?
Not a TV series, it's not the news, it's not a film.
It's definitely not the news.
It is an advert. You may have seen this advert. I'm not sure.
You've done something really tricky here. Hang on. What is in the advert? What is in the advert?
Do you know what? I can't remember. It's this lady who she picks up a ticket and she's long in the queue, and then this shows up. Why is there an advert for MetaQuest? I've just guessed. Because MetaQuest is VR.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've probably seen this advert 10 times and I don't know what happens in it.
I'll take your word for it.
I think every single time I've just listened to it and gone, I like the song.
You've absolutely... I mean, because, you've done... It's completely allowed. I don't know why I didn't think of adverts.
Yeah, I hope you understand how hard it was for me to tell you what it was without telling you what it was.
Yeah. No, you've got me. That's really clever. Just clever. I'm just impressed.
Well, I wanted to pick the song for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I think that it worked well as a Joker.
Sure.
And also because we recently did a music draft where we talked about bands or artists beginning with U.
Oh, yes.
And now, first of all, I'd say I appreciate you taking out the part of the video where I say I've no one to say for this last answer, so I'm going to use one that Fred has given me.
I wanted it to come across as yours.
So I thank you for not making me look like a fool.
You can cut this out of the podcast.
I'm not going to cut this out of the podcast.
You've got some good clips for shorts in this one, I think. Yes.
And now I'd heard this song before that game, and I was actively looking for the song. I just couldn't find it.
Sure.
And I was slightly annoyed that I didn't, because when I found it, I realised that it was by a band called Ural Thomas and The Pain. And I was like, that would have been a really nice one to put in there.
Instead of the unicorns.
Yeah, the song's called Time. I put soul.
I put Time and got rid of it.
I'll give you classic R&B.
Thank you.
2018 is when it came out now. 2018.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, hold up.
Hadn't processed that.
Now, Ural Thomas was a soul singer back in his time, maybe 70s, I'd imagine, possibly. He was never massive. I think he got a decent amount of recognition, but he was never a massively big artist. And it was only in the mid 2010s where I think he was doing this thing where he'd get some other musicians and they'd jam and they'd play some songs, maybe for a radio show, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But one of the drummers in one of the sessions, but I think he does DJing as well or something, he sort of came to Ural Thomas and said, hey, we could get like a proper band going here. Come 2018, they've released an album.
No! So this is actually new?
Yeah, this is off of an album, yeah. I can't remember the name of, but it's a good one. I love the fact that it really pushes in that sort of 70s soul sort of vibe, especially with the album cover. I think the production as well is masterfully reflective of
it's been around
70s
since
soul.
the 60s, man, and now he's got an album.
Yeah, it's quite it's one of those ones where I feel like, I don't know if people have been keeping up with the most mysterious song on the internet, where this band who did have an amount of success back in the day, but it was never as big as a lot of artists you listen to. They sort of come back in a way of same sort of thing that happened with Panjico.
Yes.
In that they sort of come back and they're making new stuff, and it's bigger than what they were doing before. It's more popular, and they finally found their footing, right? Same thing that happened with the mysterious song that has now been found, which is I think
nutty.
I was sat at a concert band rehearsal, probably with my mouth open for probably 20 seconds when I found that out. But anyways, yeah. I want to listen to this album. I haven't got to it yet, so I'll do it at some point.
It's not long, 34 minutes.
Yeah. I like it's got a nice style, and I think the story is warm.
Yes,
so
definitely, that's
nice.
the word.
Yeah, and as I say, I can't tell you anything about the MetaQuest advert because every time it's been on, I've been listening to the music and not watching the advert. So, 1 point for you.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Welcome.
That is such a. That's the one. It's like an anachronism. It's something of a different time in the wrong time. It's like when you're watching Game of Thrones or whatever, and you see someone's got a wristwatch on and they've got to take off. Hearing that kind of music and then you telling me it was released in 2018, it's just a bit, huh?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Okay.
Fair enough.
You're number 6.
Number 6.
Now, racism round 2.
Round 2. Chris versus the world. Fight.
This was the De La Commande, they bomb your home. Bomb your home, or they all go home?
They won go home. We won go home.
We won go home, okay. That must have been the racist British version I heard at some point.
We bomb your home.
De La Commande, they bomb your home. Yeah.
The colonial version.
Now, once again, I do not know the country of origin.
Fine.
I guessed it was Caribbean. It might not be Caribbean, so I've put reggae. Now, once again, I'm hoping that this musician is from the Caribbean, because this could be like a deeply rooted offensive answer.
Okay.
I don't think it's this artist, but I've put him because, for the sake of putting an artist, I've
Of
put
course.
Bobby McFerrin.
That's not a horrible
remember
answer.
him.
I don't think that's a horrible
Don't
answer.
worry about a thing.
I love Bobby McFerrin, man. He's great.
Nice song. I said it was called Mr. Talisman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm guessing it might be some folk sort of song, so it might have a different name. Yeah, as I say, I put reggae. 1972. Glad I could get that out my system, get that over with. Hopefully there'll be no more of these moments for the rest of the game.
Well, after the first one, you are 1 for 0.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say you're like... I think
1.5 for 0.
by... You've gone the full rounds with this one, but I think the referees have awarded in your favour ultimately.
Okay,
so I think it's just about 1-1.
I was on a yellow, but they've given me a warning.
Kind of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a point just for reggae. Just.
Oh.
I'm going to be... Remember this lenience, Chris. I'm giving you a point,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because it's... I think the point of this is it's heavily inspired by reggae, but not.
Okay.
It's by an American man who was a singer and an actor, but very forward in civil rights and stuff. And he
Okay.
popularised this sound
Okay.
of the name Harry Belafonte.
Okay.
It is called Deo, brackets the Banana Boat song, 1956. Something called
Calypso.
Mento. I'm giving you a point for Mento. I think Mento is like
you.
reggae, which is conjoined to like Western music writing and everything. So it's kind of a moulding of the two. Calypso, and it's an
Calypso,
old
yeah.
work song
Right.
as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's from Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Which again I haven't seen. I mainly chose this because my sister really likes the film, and I think she dressed up as one of the characters for Halloween. And so it was on the brain. And I when I was scrolling through those articles, I saw this one. I thought, of course, it's in Beetlejuice, which I haven't seen, but I know
I'm right in
it's
thinking
used.
it's a Halloween film, right?
It is a Halloween
Beetlejuice,
film, yeah, and it's meant to be quite good. My sister really likes it. Yeah, so Deo, the banana. I think it's about. I think what he's saying is, "Come on, Mr. Tally Man, tally me banana. Daylight come and me one go home." I think so.
okay.
It's like I think it's a work song of people working at the docks, and they've collected whether they've grown them or they've been shipped in. I'm not sure. They're counting up all the bananas.
Yeah.
And then when the morning comes, someone whose job it is to come over and tally the amount they've got, counts them.
Okay.
So it comes to tally me banana. Daylight
Tally
come,
bananas, so
me
that, so
one
that
go
we
home.
can go home.
Exactly. Deo, me say deo. It's really catchy. I really like this. Beetlejuice, yeah, again, I actually think I've actually run out of things to say already. I do want to watch the film. I think at this point the characters have sort of been hypnotised or possessed to dance along to this song. I think that's the scene. Good song, very catchy. Point for Chris.
Thank you.
And I think you've kept your dignity as well. So
I've tried to.
no, you've done well. I think you've done well.
Cheers.
Right, where do we get to? We've gone down to yeah. Make myself laugh. Anyway, so this was an instrumental one. I remember. Orchestral. So I said classical, but I also said romantic, but I also said film score, which is the whole point of the game. But in this scenario, I don't know what else to say. I've left the other things till last because... Do you remember when we did Music A-Level, Chris? And do you remember all the sort of different works we looked at?
Yeah.
Do you remember there being one that sort of we kind of, as a class, collectively agreed was dull?
Was it the Rachel Portman one?
I said this was Rachel Portman because which is not to say that this was dull. I didn't find this dull at all. But as I was writing, I said, I've got no idea who this is. Oh, Rachel Portman does films. And she does classical film scores. So Rachel Portman. I said it was from Duchess, which it isn't, 2000.
Yeah. No, I think... yeah, you've reminded me of how we all collectively didn't really like that, I remember.
It was just a bit simple.
Yeah. I suppose maybe if you watch the film, it probably might fit in a bit more.
It probably serves the film better than it does as a piece of music to be analysed.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Which is more a problem with the exam board that made us analyse it, and then decided to take the Courtney Pine off there for some of the younger students. But I think it's back on there now.
Seething.
This is this is a Japanese one. So
ooh, cool! Really cool. Okay.
It's by a composer called Joe Hisaishi.
Hisaishi, yes.
It's called One Summer Day.
Spirited Away, no!
I wanted to say that.
Sorry. I didn't... cut it out. Chris, I'm...
It's a classical piece. I came up with the term J-classical as well, which I found quite funny.
And that's the hat trick, folks.
That's fine. To be fair... But... in my mind, it makes sense because it's not classical. It's got it does sound.
You've done nothing wrong. You don't need to justify it.
It's got the city pop vibes, and I thought people use stuff like J-pop and K-pop. So
they do.
J classical, in my mind,
opportunity. I'm sorry.
Makes sense. To be fair, it's probably people like me, very poorly ethnically diverse people who have come up with stuff like J-pop and K-pop. So I'm probably just a cog in the system. Keeping people down.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. 2001 is when it came out. It's from Spirited Away.
Oh, wow.
As Fred said.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. So I've watched quite a few Studio Ghibli films.
I need to get into them. I know how good they are.
I like quite a lot of them, I think. A lot of them are very sort of, I want to say, kid-friendly films.
Sure.
Something like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service are quite...
Oh, I've got something to say about that, but yeah, go on.
Okay. I think I've watched one called Castle in the Sky, which is...
Yeah, I know of Castle in the Sky.
I've watched. I haven't watched a load of them. I've watched a few, and I like them. And Howl's Moving Castle is another one. So I thought I do want to use one, and I also wanted to use one that was more classical. Yeah. So I thought it's in like every film score.
Exactly.
You got to use some somewhere. And this made sense to use because it's not just classical. It's got that Japanese feel to it.
Well, there's a folkiness there. Yeah.
Which is nice. God, you never realise how far Studio Ghibli go back because I think Kiki's Delivery Service is an 80s film. Like, that's crazy. This film, Spirited Away, on the other hand, is very not kid-friendly.
Really?
It's quite... Do you know, I found it... Well, I mean, I guess I went into it thinking it was going to be a lot of what I'd seen before, but better because I know how credible this film is, how highly people think of it. It was more unnerving.
Really?
A lot of the themes in the film are quite dark.
Interesting.
The character models are like uncannily dark because you're watching it going, none of these characters are making reference to how creepy this character is. It's just there, and I'm watching it going, is anybody else seeing what I'm seeing? Or something like this. It's eerie. The
guy with the face.
Yeah, do you know what? It's the main lady who is, I guess, meant to... I don't even really know if there's meant to be an antagonist in this film. She's probably seen as the antagonist.
With the face?
I'm not thinking of No Face at the moment. I was thinking of someone else.
Oh, no, I'm looking at pictures. The lady with the big nose.
Yeah. Her character design, I'm watching it going, is no one else seeing this? She is so creepy. Sorry, lady with big nose. Just be glad that you're a cartoon and not a real person, because otherwise that would have come across as really rude. I think I'm not raving about it as much as other people are. I think I've used it mainly because it's a studio game. I mean, I feel like that's the thing with films that have such a high acclamation, is you go into it expecting a level above which somebody else has gone into the film and started raving about it because they liked it, right?
Sure.
you go into it expecting to like it a lot more than you probably should, or maybe even would.
Yeah, and then you get let down.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I was let down. I just thought this is probably going to be a film I'm going to have to watch a few times.
Sure.
I think as much as I presume No Face was going to have a very integral part in the film, he's the black ghost with the mask.
Yes, yeah.
Because you watch it and go, he seems to be the face of this film, right? Didn't have as big a role as I was expecting. He's important to the film, but I don't know. I just sort of felt like a lot of it was building up to, this guy is so mysterious. Who is it?
Okay.
Yeah, and as I say, there's dark concepts which are not typically custom to a Studio Ghibli film, and I think that was also why maybe it was a bit weirder. But no, yeah, I mean, I think my favourite Studio Ghibli film is probably Kiki's Delivery Service. I think you said you had something to say about it, but
very minimal. Is way back when I spoke to Adam Bosage.
Oh yeah,
and he said, which one? Is it Familiar Shores? You got to think of Familiar Shores. I think it's that one. But I mean, if you read the article I did on it at our magazine, you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. But I think I want to say it's that one that he said, if you were to watch that film alongside it, it kind of perfectly lines up, because he was watching that as he was making it, and he just kind of ended up writing inadvertent film music for
That's
it.
Cool.
So.
That's very cool. Yeah. There's another one called Lupin the Third. I don't know if that is Studio Ghibli or if it's just an anime film. But I liked that, and I wanted to watch it because someone had done an edit of the film to a lo-fi beat. I think it's called like Run 2 or something. And I'd watched it on YouTube when I was in school, and I really liked it, and I wanted to watch the film since then, and I liked it. It was a good film. It won't necessarily, if you don't want to be a weeb, it won't make you a weeb. So dive into Studio Ghibli. There's some good films, some nice, really beautiful art style. That was something that took me aback about this film. Is there's a lot of shots that are very.
You just kind of let the animators and things do.
They're just very artistic shots, and you think you've taken a lot of liberty here that a lot of other people probably be too scared to do.
Yes.
So I think it comes across good, and I'll leave that there. I think so. Yeah, I'll give you 2 points.
That's very kind, thank you. No, it is a film studio whose catalogue I do want to get into. I find there are a lot of films I need to watch. I just don't allow myself the time.
Probably the case with a lot of things, yeah.
For instance, I end up prioritising music, which I think is fair.
Of course, yeah, we're musicians at heart. You're number 7.
Yeah.
This was one I'm pretty sure I know.
Okay.
It's by another Greek composer.
Maybe.
That you like.
Maybe.
Called Vangelis.
Maybe.
Can't remember his first name. This is, or maybe it might not be. I think it is, but I guessed it was called Theme from Blade Runner.
Okay.
It might have a different name. Now, I remember when we were playing the game, I said I got to use my favourite genre term, which is symphonic synth. I'm very happy that I could use that once again. Or classical, I put as well. Now that I'm listening to it, why did I put that? Synth pop, I put because it's synthy in it. 1985. I think you used this in a very early round of the Whiteboard Game back in the day. And yeah, I think it's from the film Blade Runner, the one with Harrison Ford.
Yes, the one with Harrison Ford. I'll give you 3.5 things we're doing half points.
Okay.
For the title.
Thank you.
It's just main titles. And I think he does just go by Vangelis. So don't need to know any other name, just Vangelis.
Fair enough.
Yeah, pretty much spot on, apart from the year, that's all.
Oh wow. Yeah.
A bit later than you think.
A lot later than I thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
1994 for Blade Runner. The story for this is in my first year when they did a bit of film study, they introduced us to that because it was an English course. And you kind of look at cinematography and script and the use of everything, the acting, the music, everything.
Yeah.
And it is that moment where instead of reading a book for 1 week, you just get asked to watch Blade Runner. And you go, those guys studying film at university, their job prospects will probably be appalling, but they get it, man.
Yeah.
Because they're paying money to just watch a bunch of films.
They found the cheat code, yeah.
That's just what they do. Just every week.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, watching 2 films. What are you doing? Writing an essay. Oh, that's a shame. I'm watching 2 films.
And their lecturers are probably giving them all like the not as dodgy film pirating websites as well.
Either that, or they've got some kind of in-house software mainframe where they just have all the films that you can access. All that being said, I think I did have to buy this on YouTube. So they didn't do it for me. I did have to get it, which was a bit frustrating. But I made a night of it. I made myself a dinner, turned all the lights off in my room. It's quite atmospheric. Sat at the desk. It's dark. It's gritty. It's really good. It is just and I have used it before. You're right. I think I just wanted to do it again because it is one of my favourite soundtracks. He's amazing on it. I mean, he loves this kind of weird synthy space ambient sound generally.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, pardon me. This symphonic synth sound. Generally, Chariots of Fire being the other most famous one. But I just wanted to have an opportunity. He is Greek as well, more Greekness. So I get to shout that out. But I also get to shout out him as one of my favourite underrated film composers because people know him, but it's always Zimmer and it's always John Williams. And there are 2 I think that people need to talk about more. It's him, Vangelis, especially for this. The main title of Blade Runner, I think, is gorgeous. It's so weird and eerie. It's brilliant. But then Alexandre, because I think he's French, Desplat.
Okay.
Grand Budapest Hotel, for instance, which is probably my favourite soundtrack. It's brilliant. And
it strikes me as one of your favourite films.
It is my joint favourite film. Why do you laugh, Chris?
No, just amused that you have a joint favourite film. What is it joint with?
Another film.
Okay. Oh, okay, right. Okay, yeah, maybe.
Desplat, he's done a lot of good films, and I will briefly look through them. He did Mr. Magruder's Wonder Emporium, he did The Golden Compass, he did The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, he did Fantastic Mr. Fox, he did Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, he did The King's Speech, he did The Tree of Life, he did Part 2 of the Deathly Hallows. I could go on. Moonrise Kingdom, Rise of the Guardians, Zero Dark 30, Zulu. Really? That's not the Zulu, is it? I don't know. Venus in Fur, Godzilla, the 2014 version, Imitation Game. He's got a great. He's great.
A good roster.
It's only ever John Williams and Hans Zimmer, and they're both great. But Vangelis and Desplat, man, respect them. And I'll leave it there. 3.5.
Cheers. Yeah, I didn't realise that his name isn't Vangelis. That was just like a stage name that he had. That's really cool. You don't see that a lot in
not with
composers
film music,
who are more, I guess, not classical, but have, I guess, more of a film music sort of feeling. I don't know. Anyways.
I said this was somewhere in between slowcore and alt country. And because of that, and I'm thinking, because I can't necessarily think of the films you might be watching, but I can think of the kind of artists you listen to.
Okay.
I don't know why I've put that. Don't know why I've put that as a film, because I can't think of another one. And I'm not going to change it now, because that's cheating. I said Wilco.
Okay.
Everything's Ending Here, 1997, slowcore alt country. Fantastic Mr. Fox, even though I have literally just clarified the score was made by Desplat.
I mean, you can still have like popular songs. They used Let Her Dance in Fantastic Mr. Fox at the end, didn't they?
They do, and I want to say...
Which is a fantastic song. What a choice.
It's a great choice.
Yeah.
I want to say, hang on, that they use Heroes and Villains as well.
Oh, by Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I realize I might be cheating. It is actually there. Haha, I got you. No. But yeah, as you were.
Cool. Yeah, no, I've This is what I like to call Chris has found an excuse to talk about Pavement in a Whiteboard Game. It is a song of their. Well, I mean, I think the first thing I thought was, I still love Pavement. I'd like to use them in this game.
I love the way it stops you from falling through the earth. It's great.
Yeah, let me have a think. Well, let me have a Google. What films have they been in?
And suddenly,
one of their songs called "Here" has been in a film, which is on their first album, Slanted and Enchanted.
Sure.
I put the genre as indie rock / slacker rock, sort of. The big Pavement genres. So if you ever hear me play a Pavement song again, you've got at least 2 points. 1992 is when the song came out. This film was used in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Now, I don't know if you've watched it.
I have a while ago, I think.
I haven't. But the reason I've used it is because it is one of my brother's favourite films.
Oh, cool.
And I thought, I would like to use it, but if I don't have a good reason to use it, I'm not going to. But I realised that because it's my brother's favourite, it's good enough to use a Pavement song. This song is in a scene where one of the characters is sort of giving a toast to the main character, and the main character's sort of like, why are you doing this? And the guy's like, well, I really appreciate you and I want you to feel appreciated. And the guy sort of doesn't really know how to react or deal with it because he's not accustomed to that sort of feeling. I haven't watched the film. I've just seen a lot of very sad edits with sad songs behind them using stuff from this film. And this is one of the more sad Pavement songs, to be fair. And this song, I think, is meant to be more incidental because the way that it's played it's as if they're sort of at a party, and it's sort of as if it's playing at the party in the background.
Oh, nice.
It's not sort of in the, the character's not walking somewhere and this is sort of playing as he's going somewhere. It's more incidental, diegetic.
That is the word, yes.
Yeah. I should probably watch it just because it's one of my brother's favourite films, but I need to find somewhere to watch it. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to watch stuff on illegal streaming services.
I don't. That's not for me. Especially now I'm studying law.
Yeah.
Crime doesn't pay, Chris. Not when I'm around.
But anyways, what have I not said about Pavement from last time? Well, I'm going to lean off from saying as much as I want to because very quickly they've become one of my favourite bands.
Good.
They're
that's
excellent.
A lovely feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they have 5 albums, and as nice as that is to think, it's not massive to get through.
Suddenly it finishes.
You're sat at the end going, why is there not more music?
Give me one more song, please.
They've got loads and loads of stuff on, like deluxe albums and stuff, so I haven't cleared it all out, which is good. But I really like them. This is off probably the album I like the least. It's probably just the one in which it feels like the importance of it is more to do with it's building their sound. I think a lot of the songs are decent. I just don't find that I'm listening to them as much as songs off of Wowie Zowie, Brighten the Corners, any of the other big 4 Pavement albums. They don't have a bad album. They're fantastic. Absolutely adore them. I might find an excuse to say more about them next game, but I'll leave it there for now. You have got yourself. I'll give you a point for Slowcore, and you get a point for the year. Generous. So 2 points for you. Well, you told me to remember to be generous. So.
I did say that quite sternly, didn't I? Yes. Thank you.
No worries. This next one, I have been listening to a very specific song off of this album recently.
Oh.
Because it is something I needed a reference for an Idio Twin track.
Oh.
Hopefully this is the album I'm thinking of, or not a different one. I think it is. I have reason to believe it is because it's a Peter Gabriel song, I do believe. And I know he did a film soundtrack in the late 80s.
Okay.
For a film called The Last Temptation of Christ.
Ah, haha.
I can see him might have gone wrong somewhere here. And he called it Passion.
Yes.
I think is the name of the album. I guess this song was called Shadow, and put prog pop / synth pop, and I think Last Temptation of Christ came out in 1989.
Cool.
So I've put that.
I'll give you 3.
Thank you.
It is Peter Gabriel.
Okay.
I've given you the genre. I've put art pop.
Oh, yeah.
1993. This is not from Passion. It would, I think, well, the entirety of Passion is very much grounded in, like, world music, which is a phrase I hate, but it's that fusion of the sort of Arabic, North African, Middle Eastern folk traditions, right? And the whole album is very much that.
Okay.
This is from a different soundtrack. He contributed one song to it. He wrote it for the film.
Oh, right.
Called Philadelphia. I will try and be as quick as I can with this, because I know I've got 2 specific things to say. One about the song, and then just to talk about the film. Firstly, the song. It's interesting what you said about having something that's quite incidental, diegetic. You're not kind of focusing on it. I'm very amused by the fact that he was asked to write a song for Philadelphia. And when you watch the film, because I watched the film already knowing the song, obviously, because I'm obsessed. And so when's it going to show up? When's it going to get used? And you just kind of hear it just about for 10 seconds floating out of a bar in one scene, like being played through the MTV television or the speakers in there or something. And then it never comes back. And the reason why this, I think initially I was quite upset. I was like, man, I love that song. They only use it that much. Now it makes me laugh because you listen to this song and you know when you've got that kind of joke of someone overdoing it. They're putting too much work into a project they know is never going to make it. Like, why are you trying that much, you know? Someone who shows up to a Sunday League football match with a sparkly new kit and £60 boots and all of this and like, brother... calm down. The amount of effort on this song, the production on it is incredible. It sounds so good. Like the way it moves through the sections of it, it's only about 4 minutes long, whatever. It's a brilliant song, and it's used in a very muted way for 10 seconds. I just like to think of them going, Peter, you don't need to work this hard. No, I want to. I want. Yeah, but it's only. I don't care. I'm going to make a great song, and that makes me laugh. It's a brilliant song. And then the film, I don't know if you know about Philadelphia.
I don't.
I've already mentioned the main actor in it, who I love. It's not Dustin Hoffman, it's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, okay.
Who I think, I love Tom Hanks, man. You've got Denzel Washington in it as well.
Cool.
There's some kind of scandal. I can't remember, I haven't watched Philadelphia in a while. There's some kind of scandal, and Tom Hanks gets taken to court, and he's found, this is during... And we don't need to cut this out because it is a thing in history that happened. It's during the AIDS crisis in the US, especially. And so not only was it rife, but there's a lot of misinformation. And so, you know, people are really scared of it. They don't understand that it has to be through bodily fluids.
Right, yeah.
That is passed. So they think that you can catch it on the air and everything.
Yeah.
And because of that, you get a lot of homophobia and stuff coming about. So Tom Hanks plays a gay man, and he has intercourse with a gentleman in a theatre. I think a film, that's an Americanism, cinema, and he contracts AIDS. And so during this law trial that he's embroiled in, he's just getting more ill and more ill and more ill, and it becomes a part of it. It becomes a weapon against him. And Denzel Washington, who is hired to be his lawyer, he has a lot of inhibitions about it. He's really uncomfortable because he's a bit homophobic, and but basically, the further on the film goes, there's this really emotional bit, but I can't remember what aria. It's at Tom Hanks's flat, and he's really unwell at this point because it's killing him. But he's singing along to it, and he's kind of saying, "Oh, and at this point, she's just about to die," and it's really dramatic. And you see Denzel Washington is just slumped on the sofa in the corner, and he's like battling not to cry, kind of thing. But he comes to just sort of, it's beautiful because he comes to accept it, and he realizes that it's fine. And so he kind of defeats his homophobia and his inhibitions about it. I won't say any more about the film. It's very emotional. It's really good. You've got Bruce Springsteen on the soundtrack as well. You've got, is it Dexy's Midnight Raid? No.
Come on.
No, it's no. It's Creedence
Creedence
Clearwater Revival with I Wanna Know, Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Which I love that song as well. Really good soundtrack, really good film.
Cool.
This is one of the ones I almost strongly recommend, along with like Blade Runner.
Okay.
Great films. Yeah.
Cool.
Did I give you points? I did, didn't I?
I think so. Yeah, you gave me 3. Yeah.
3, yes.
Cheers. Good.
Appreciate it. This one is definitely wrong, by the way, Chris. Well,
That's okay.
Wrong.
I think this is one of the harder ones, so don't worry about it.
What year did I say? Okay, so it sounded folky. It also sounded like Christian music.
Yeah.
She said Lord a few times.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
I think you laughing at that makes me worried that I put too much emphasis on the fact she kept saying Lord.
No, I was don't worry, I was laughing at something else, and it might become apparent when we go through the answer.
Oh dear.
It's in relation to something bad I did earlier.
Oh God, okay. I said Jethro Tull.
Oh, okay.
Because it sounded like an ensemble of sorts, doing something folky. I said 500 Miles. 1977. I've gone through. I put not Canterbury music. It's meant to say Canterbury scene because that's Jethro Tull.
Music from Canterbury.
That's the genre term. It's the genre
That's
term.
interesting.
The Easter Story, miscellaneous Christian film title, if it is a Christian film.
Oh, right. Okay. This is... Now, you have to forgive me. This is the hardest one. This is from a band who don't even really have a Spotify page.
Oh, goodness me. So it's not Jethro Tull.
No. The band is called... well, firstly, I'll say you get 2 points.
Oh.
So well done. You've done well.
Cool, thank you.
The band's called Song for Memories.
No.
It's called 500 Miles. You did good.
Sweet.
Folk / J-Folk. 2022.
Bullet Train, yo.
It's from Bullet Train, yeah.
That's a good film.
I'm glad you think so. Now, I'll talk about the band briefly. I did a little bit of research to try and see who they actually were. And one site said that they were a Japanese band from like the early 2000s or something. And I'm guessing they did like some folk, J-folk stuff. Golly gosh. And they haven't done much since, but I'm guessing the director of the film, maybe David Leitch, the director, maybe said, do you know what, I liked you guys back in the day, so could you come and sing us this it is a folk song, 500 Miles.
Okay, cool.
And they do a nice, I really like the cover of it. It's really pretty, very nice, and it plays towards the end of the train journey.
Yeah.
So, sort of like when they get past Kyoto and the sun shines.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I don't know, maybe we've gone very far from our home. I'm 500 miles.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
But I guess in terms of like the atmosphere of the atmosphere is quite different at that point in the film. Yeah, Bullet Train. I don't know how well received this film was.
I agree with that concern.
Because I watched it and I thought it's a great film. I really love it. I really like it. And then I looked it up and reviews seem mixed.
They are. I think they are.
And I thought, I don't know if it's maybe just because it's quite a different style that not everyone takes to. I mean, it's very, very British humour. It's sort of style.
I found it quite funny. It was clever.
I think he's British, David Leitch. Let me have a look it up. No, he's American. Never mind. He just must have a very British sense of humour. Yeah, because he did another film this year, I think, called Fall Guy, which is sort of like a sister film to this film.
Oh, cool! I didn't know
that.
Okay.
Not with like the same characters, but it's got a very similar vibe. I'm not sure how many films David Leitch has done, but
it's quite a few, I think.
I liked it, and I was recommended by a friend to watch this film, and I watched it, and it's amazing, man. Isn't it?
It's really clever.
Film.
It's funny.
Yeah. I like the fact that it plays on an old story.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like a
plays on tropes.
It's meant, or at least like it's like actually meant to be based on like an old tale.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's like an old Japanese film or something, and then this reinterprets it very well. I think all the acting's good. I think Brad Pitt is a pretty decent actor.
Of course he is.
I feel like probably a lot of people probably go, oh, he's done a lot of big roles that people haven't really liked, but I quite like him. I think he's good. I think he's pretty decent in this role. God, there's a Japanese actor who's been in a few films. He was in one of the John Wick films. I can't remember his name. Yeah, but he's very good.
Is that the older guy?
Yeah. I think it's a film in which you never really know where it's going, but I think it does very well to change the vibe of the film throughout, because it's all happening on a bullet train, right? The setting is incredibly compact,
claustrophobic.
Yeah. But you know, the whole film ebbs and flows, and it goes through different sort of stages, and it feels very good. Again, very British, as I say, because there's a lot of moments that are incredibly like crude and a little disturbing.
Yes, yeah.
But it's very good. For me, the highlight of the film, and this was more because of this taste I had to this actor previously.
Okay.
A little bit like how you talked about Wes Anderson's sort of liking of certain actors to use in multiple films. Adrian Brody, for example. Aaron Taylor-Johnson is used in both this film and Fall Guy.
Yeah.
And so he feels like an actor David Leitch likes a lot and uses. Now, I think ever since he got the Bond role, I was sort of a bit like, I've got a bit of a sour taste for you. Because I was really hoping it was going to be someone who wasn't, well, who brought something different to the role. I don't feel like, well, we'll see what Aaron Taylor-Johnson manages to do.
I might not see it. I don't like Bond very much, but yeah.
But I was sort of thinking, Daniel Craig's done it for a lot, and you need someone...
A change of pace.
Just to offer something different, I feel. And I didn't feel like Aaron Taylor-Johnson was that. But
yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
I guess we'll see what he does. And so in films before, when he comes up, I've not liked him. Been quite critical, yeah. I thought in Fall Guy he was all right. He plays he plays the antagonist, but... He does all right. This film completely changed how I think about him.
He's good in this.
He is amazing in this film.
And I've got the cast list: Brian Tyree Henry.
Yes,
the pair of them.
They
work
very
so
good,
well together.
Yeah, the other guy is very good. He references Thomas the Tank Engine very much, which love that.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. What's it? You're a
diesel.
You're a diesel.
You're a diesel. Yeah.
You're a diesel.
Yeah. The one gripe I have about I can't remember what you said his name was. The other guy.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Brian Tyree Henry. Yeah, is because he's American. Sometimes his accent isn't.
Yeah, it wobbles.
Yeah, because Aaron Taylor-Johnson's doing proper Cockney.
Yeah.
Sort of rough accent, whereas half the time I think it feels like. I've completely forgotten. Is say Brian?
Brian.
He's trying to do the same thing, but sometimes it goes a bit Brummy, a bit Birmingham
sort
of
sounding.
It
fluctuates. You're right,
and it doesn't feel as comfortable. And I mean, I still think him in the role is very good, but
they do play off each other well, in my opinion.
Very well, yeah. But Aaron Taylor-Johnson's performance in that film is honestly exceptional. I think he owns his character. He's incredibly convincing, and his accent is perfected. Yeah, I would say, and it made me have a big appreciation for him because I was like, "You've convinced me that you are a very good actor. Thank you. I will probably watch more films that you're in now." So big up to him. Big up to this film. Spoken for it for a bit. Probably haven't talked a lot about it, but. It's a good film. It does feel like it's a film that some people like, some people don't, but I think it's good.
I think it's good. I think it's fun. It's one of those that I don't think you should go into thinking it's going to be groundbreaking. Just enjoy it.
It's a fun watch. Yeah. I really enjoy the style as well, like the directing style of it. I feel like it's different, and I appreciate something that's doing something different.
I completely agree. Agree.
2 points for you.
Thank you very much. My history with this film is that I want to say a couple of years ago, a couple of birthdays ago of his, it was Becky her brother, it was his birthday, and what they do around their household is the birthday person gets a film choice. And there was a lot of tension and stigma hanging in the air about him choosing a film. I think especially because it had not been long prior that he had chosen John Wick, the first one, and Becky in particular had hated it. Wasn't my favourite, I won't lie, but she in particular despised watching that film. She couldn't do it. She really struggled. And so he said, oh, let's give Bullet Train a go. And Becky, again, in particular, was quite vocal, going, oh, no, please, is it a violent one? Don't want any more violence. It's always violence this, violence that, no more violence. But we all liked it.
Yeah.
We all liked it. It was really good. As I say, it was just fun. If you go in not expecting, like, you know, it's not going to challenge film theory, you know? It's not going to invent a new structure of narrative, but it's fun.
It's fun, yeah. Okay. Number 9, we're getting on a bit.
Number 9.
We'll do this.
5 minutes of one. We can do it.
I was convinced I've heard this before. I don't know where from, but there was a point in which something came into my mind from somewhere. I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
It just appeared, and I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start by saying, don't know the musician. I think I mentioned to you, this could very much be someone I've never heard of, and so there's no point in me putting any thought into it.
Probably is.
I guess Dodie, because it's a very acoustic sort of feeling, and I think that's what she does. I guess it was called The Butterflies and the Bees, because that felt like a nice title. Indie pop, 2011. The thing that popped into my mind was Adventure Time. I have a feeling this might be your Joker.
Well done. 3 points. Well done.
Very nice, thank you.
Everything other than the artist and title. Well done.
Thank you.
I said indie folk, twee pop. I think
Yeah,
fits quite well.
twee pop, yeah. Big shout.
2012. And it is my Joker. It is from Adventure Time. And as I say, it's a shame now that we're doing 5 minutes an extract. But this is by a lady called Ashley Erickson. It's called it's just called Island Song. I thought I will never get another opportunity on this podcast to talk about how much I love Adventure Time, man. This was my... Look, you think about shows from your childhood. SpongeBob always had a very special place to me.
Phineas and Ferb was there for me.
Yes, Phineas and Ferb. I wasn't necessarily one I latched onto, but I've got a lot of respect for Phineas and Ferb because I know how many people I know loved it, kind of thing. SpongeBob's got a very special place to me.
Yeah.
Regular Show's got a very special place to me. I've got a friend who you know, one who's getting married soon, that friend.
Yeah.
He loves Regular Show. So growing up through secondary school, him and I, man, Regular Show, the jokes.
Yeah.
Amazing World of Gumball, that's a banger.
Yeah.
Adventure Time is my show, man. Like it just pips SpongeBob, just. Because SpongeBob has... Actually, no, that's not fair. Adventure Time has longevity as well. And I probably will go and watch it back, the whole thing. I'm not ashamed. I'm 23. I'm not ashamed. Because it's not just a kid's show.
Yeah.
Much in the same way that you go back and watch SpongeBob and there are like these weird adult jokes that you suddenly uncover. It's like, oh, didn't notice that before. There's
always going to be something there for the adults.
And like Squidward has got depth of character, man. That's a complex character, right? But eventually, I mean, the art is outstanding. The humour is outstanding, and it's just so constantly absurd and whimsical. There's a lot of liminality in it, I find, because with the art stuff, there's one episode which is kind of set in a forest and it's just raining, it's really damp, and so you got a lot of these shots where you're just in these long fields of reeds and dense forest where it's really dark and there's just trees everywhere and puddles and ponds. It feels like you've been transported to a whole other world, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But it is such a complex story. The world building, because there's stuff about the fallout of nuclear war and stuff like this, and characters going insane in a dark way, and forget. You know, you've got themes of dementia, you've got themes of love, you've got relationships that aren't heteronormative. It's really complex, and I love it. And I've convinced myself to go back and watch it because it just holds such a special place to me.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I looked at that show actually when I was growing up, and I thought, if there is anything in my life right now that I look to and go, I need to keep watching this to avoid... I had this weird fear from the age of like 14 to 17 that I was going to lose the creativity. that I was going to suddenly become obsessed with accountancy or something as I got older, and money and stuff, which obviously I haven't done because I still do music and everything. But for me, there was this voice saying, Fred, keep watching Adventure Time. Don't let it go, because that will keep you creative.
Okay.
It holds a very special place to me, and I could say a lot more, but I'll leave it there, because that's my 5 minutes. Yeah. But 3 points.
Thank you, yeah. I'm surprised that at that age you were thinking you don't want to lose your creativity, because I don't think it was probably until my late teens, early 20s where I actually understood what creativity actually was. So,
look, I wasn't a genius. I wasn't some kind of prodigy child, but I at the time I loved the music and I loved the acting, and I did write poetry and whatever, and I thought, I really hope I don't get to an age where I'm boring, I think is basically what I was thinking. Okay. So this was a choral piece. Mm-hmm. Did I say this was your Joker? I did, because I just couldn't place it. There you go. I was trying to think of vocal composers, choral composers. So I said Ola Giello.
Massive shout.
Famous for writing, for us famous, Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, yeah.
Which we did in chamber choir in sixth form, which is a beautiful choral piece. It's beautiful. I said The Glow. I had to fight back. It sounded like the kind of thing he would title, I think it's a he, would title something. And I had to fight back the urge to put part 2 in brackets after it. 2007 choral, I said Joker.
Nice. Yeah, no, this is... You mentioned a very popular, big music composer earlier.
Oh, dear.
This is John Williams.
Oh, why I overthought.
It is for the people who like to guess the film before we've said the actual film, the song is called The Patronus Light. See if you can get it from that.
Star Wars.
I put classical choral as a genre, 2004, so just in the range. This is from The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is a part 3 from the film series Harry Potter. Now, well, real quick, I'll start by saying, if you had played the Lego Harry Potter games, there'd be a very tangible hint that this was from this film, because in a part of the abstract I gave you, whoever did the audio for that game cut out a section of it, and so that when you do the Patronus spell in the game that plays, it's a little crude when you're listening to it. Of now course. You're going, it's clearly just been cut,
just chunk. Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I use this because I'd be inclined to say this is up there with my favourite films of all time. I don't know what I'd say my favourite film of all time. Yeah. They're good, yeah. I think in terms of a series, I think they're good. I think when you watch the films individually, they're not all gonna hold up.
Of course,
they're not all great. What I do think is great is this film, however.
Okay.
This film is probably one in which, when you're a child, and well, I guess we were lucky enough to grow up with the Harry Potter films as children, they're not... Well, this one especially is the darkest one.
Yeah, I think you've spoken to me about this before.
At least in the early years. Well, I guess the ones that I would have loved growing up are the first 2, Goblet of Fire, maybe Half-Blood Prince. But I think that's just because I was subjected to it quite a few times.
Joy by repetition.
Yeah, this one was only ever I've watched once and not again, specifically because there's one scene that's very disturbing.
Okay.
And to not try to give too much away, I'll probably leave it there. But it's a scene which, if you take a still from it, you could probably make some sort of creepypasta out of it. I'll say
wow.
that.
Okay.
Okay. It's creepy, and so that's why I probably never went back to it. But then coming back to it as an older person, watching the Harry Potter films again, I watched this, and man, it is a banger. It's I'd say probably the last third of this film, there's not a single part of it I think they could do better.
Cool.
It's paced perfectly. The revelations happen at the right time. Emotion is put into the scene and taken away at perfect points, and it keeps you going.
Really well composed.
One thing I think is amazing is the way they handle time travel in this film. It's perfect. There's no loopholes. There's no nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I can see that being how time travel would work.
Because you will get people who think they're smarter than everyone who come in and just go, oh, actually, you can't do that because you've moved the hat by an inch, so actually that would cause Armageddon.
It gets a little bit sort of complicated when you look into it. A little bit philosophical.
Sure.
And to be fair, the characters acknowledge that. But it's so well done. Props to J.K. Rowling in part for writing it, of course.
Of course.
As a film, I think it's shot very well. A lot of the earlier film is still good, but a lot of it is setting down the new characters that are coming in and sort of building up the anticipation for the last third, which is the biggest and best part of the film.
The chunky boy.
Yeah. So you're watching it and going, oh, that's a cool Easter egg. Like Ian Brown being in, I think it's a leaky cauldron. That's a bit weird. Sure. Good for him. And he's mixing like a coffee or something or a tea with a spoon.
He's got little lemon segments in
but he's not touching it. He's just sort of moving the spoon with his finger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I think the character's very good. I think David Thewlis does a very, very good job as Lupin.
Yeah.
He really captures the awkwardness of Lupin. Gary Oldman, I don't think we need to speak about. We all know his exceptional talents as an actor. I think he does well to portray the insanity of Sirius Black.
This is one I have actually seen, I'm fairly sure.
Okay.
I think.
And then underrated actor.
I have, yeah.
I can't remember the guy that plays Peter Pettigrew. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, no, but I know exactly who
Is his name
about.
Phil? I'm going to have to look that up. He's an underrated actor.
He is.
He's very good. He's good in this again. Man, that was... Peter Pettigrew was... a build-up from the very first film. They left that anticipation long before they introduced him. But yeah, no,
Timothy Spall.
Timothy Spall, that's it. Yeah,
He's underrated.
Yeah. Good film, and I think for the most part you're past the child acting, the big child acting gripes.
Yes.
Because you can watch Philosopher's Stone for the most part, and a bit of it will be a bit cringy, but
it can be. Yeah.
But with this, you're mostly past it.
You sort of develop a grounded nature, don't you? There's a bit of humility that comes in. It's not so much just camera. Ooh.
Exactly, yeah. And so, yeah. I think if someone were to ask me what's my favourite film of all time, I'd say, I don't know, but this is one I really like.
I think that's fair.
Because I mean, I'm not someone who watches a load of films.
Sure.
Someone watching this will probably go, "Yeah, I know you've put Prisoner of Azkaban as one of your favourite films, mate.
You loser."
That much makes sense. But yeah, no, it's very good. I do like Harry Potter. I'm reading The Philosopher's Stone at the moment. It is a kid's book, but
so what?
I don't read much, so I think it's allowed.
Well, that's fine. Book's a book, man. I don't get people who have an issue with that. Book's a book.
Yeah,
it's either well written or it isn't. You know.
Yeah, so I'll give you 2 points.
Thank
you.
The year I'll take those 2 points. Thank you. Take them graciously.
Now, earlier I remember you saying that Grand Budapest Hotel is probably tied with your favourite films with another film.
It is.
And I have reason to believe it's this film.
Okay.
Or at least what I think this film is. I've guessed...
Actually Bend It Like Beckham. It's, yeah.
Underrated.
Which is a good film.
I've guessed it was by a composer who has, do you know what, a lot of... a special place in the heart of us as friends, I feel.
Okay.
In Georgi Ligeti.
Okay.
If you remember my I'm not sure if it was 17th or 18th birthday present from you to me was a book of piano pieces by Georges Ligeti.
Yes, cool. I can't remember what the collection's called. But it's a banger. It's
is,
a banger of a
very
collection,
good, yeah.
objectively.
I'm guessing this was his Requiem. Piece he wrote called Requiem. Classical / choral, I put.
Musica Riccata, sorry.
Yeah, Musica Riccata, yes, that's it. I guess it was around 1972.
Sure.
I don't really know the dates of this film, but that sort of made sense for that sort of time. I was guessing it was the very, very popular film by Stanley Kubrick, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay. So let me just confirm something very quickly. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Requiem, I think, is the one that plays as he's passing through the wormhole.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
The film?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. How many points have you got? You got 1, 2, 3. 3 points.
Okay.
3 points.
Thank you.
So, this is Georges Ligeti.
Right.
This was written, composed in 1966, so you're just out, unfortunately. But the film was released in 1968. I've given you a point for genre as well. I said choral, I said 20th century avant-garde, I've said micro-polyphony. That was the term that our head of music at the time told me Ligeti gets on with, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, it's polyphony, but it happens incredibly slowly.
Yeah.
And so you've got all like these different... So you've got, SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. But then each of those will be split into another 10 parts or something.
All right.
And so soprano will sing one note, and then about a second later, the second soprano will sing the same note. And then you'll get that cascading. But as that cascade is finishing, the top soprano will change note.
Yeah.
And so you get ultimately to these really eerie cluster chords. And it is from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Wow.
Similarly to you, I want to make this point generally. I'm starting to grow to hate sort of my favourite as a phrase.
Yeah.
Because
I feel the exact same.
to undermine other things in place of it is not right. I love the Topster stuff we do for 2 reasons. A, it gives us an opportunity to talk about our evolving music tastes. B, it's just a great general track record for me to be able to go, oh no, I have listened to that. And I thought it was okay. So I don't forget I've listened to something. But I think like the top 10 albums, it's a bit arbitrary the older I get.
Of course, yeah.
It's like, I think they're really good, but depending on the hour of the day, it could be a different 10,
Yeah. I feel like you're always more likely going to listen to the stuff you found more recently as well, in just your general day-to-day stuff. And it'll only be a special moment where you sit down and listen to something that you've listened quite a long time ago and you really like.
No, completely. And so when I say, as you've affirmed, Grand Budapest Hotel and 2001: A Space Odyssey are like my joint favourite films, I really love them. But on another day, I might say, like, if I'm feeling very silly, I might say Mouse Hunt is my favourite film. Or if I'm feeling particularly French, I might say Ratatouille is my favourite film or something, But these two I often come back to when I'm like Grand Budapest Hotel, cinematography, acting, humour, music, all of the elements are perfect. And it's the same in this one. Now, I know it's a pompous choice. I know it's pretentious. I know it's an incredibly long film. I know that there are some points where, in a way, nothing happens. I know. And fourthly, I know it's incredibly confusing at points.
Yeah.
What does the ending mean?
Yes.
It's my joint favourite film, apparently. And I don't know. I kind of don't want to know. I don't care. I did care the first time I watched it because I just sat there and went, huh? But now I've kind of gone, whatever. Not whatever. It means something to whoever watches it. But, one of the strengths of the film is the music. The choices are so well thought through. I think that's a calling card of Kubrick generally.
Yeah.
His music choices are outstanding. And Lux Aeterna is so eerie and it's so unsettling and quiet. It's when you get those obelisks popping up and you just get that. It's so effective. I think I've already illustrated how much I like the film. I don't need to take any more time doing that. I will end by saying one of my favourite lines ever that will always give me tingles is that first time that he's trying to get back into the ship, and Hal goes, "I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave."
Yeah.
And I just go, oh, he's gone wrong. Something's going on. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And again, it's a 3.5 hour film, and now I'm stupid enough to have tricked myself into wanting to rewatch a 3.5 hour film. I haven't got 3.5 hours. I'll find 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I love this film, and I don't care if you think I love myself. I love this film. What do we say? 3 points?
I think so,
Yeah, 3 points. Good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if I were to add anything, I think I watched it with my uni friends all for the first time, I think. And
amazing.
We all didn't understand it. We were all like, it's a bit weird. But I think it's weirdly similar to how I sort of felt when I first watched The Big Lebowski. Because
quite different film.
Well, because I watched that, and I guess the whole thing is he's trying to get his rug back. But by the end of the film, he's the exact same. He's no better off.
No.
And it's like,
what have I got from
ultimately
this?
what's happened?
Yeah.
And I think, but for me, that feels more like it shows the beauty of creativity.
Completely.
In that things don't have to conform. Things don't have to even make sense sometimes.
I don't think so.
You can just do things because you want to. And I feel like that's this film. Because again, you have the bit where the AI goes rogue, right? And you're sort of like, oh, okay, that's weird. But it happens for a part of the. It feels. I'm right in thinking there's 3 parts of the film.
There are 3
right?
parts,
Yeah.
yes.
And
that is the best part in my that whole.
I think so, yeah.
I'm including that, and I'm including the bit where he goes through the tunnel and everything, and even the weird ending. But that whole section is, I think, excellent. I think it's outstanding.
Yeah, and I think it works that something like that is very unknown, and so he can take liberties in doing something that's very weird and very creative, and people just go, "Eh," as he said.
But sometimes I think "heh" is the point.
Yeah.
And this is, I just want to say this because I thought about it. I've used this word already, and I'd use it to describe. I'm comparing Adventure Time to 2001: A Space Odyssey. You want to talk about liminal films?
I compared it to Big Lebowski. You're fine. You're fine.
But like liminal moments in films.
Oh yeah.
Like that ending where he's walking through that like house or whatever it is, and well, I won't say anything, even though the ending doesn't make sense. It's still an ending. And it's like you are just nowhere and somewhere at the same time. It's just so weird. And I think that can be the point sometimes, to be weird. That doesn't bother me. I know it really bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I think people just have a want to understand things, and when something comes and they don't understand it, you don't want to like it as much. But I think...
Yeah, I think there's a natural human proclivity to need an answer.
Yeah.
And sometimes to not have that is really... People just can't do it. They can't contend with that. I'm not saying that makes me smarter than people.
No.
But for me, I don't mind not having an answer.
I think we just appreciate different things.
Exactly. Now, speaking of different things, I think this is probably a film of quite a different tone for your last one.
Yeah.
I said it was Randy Newman.
Okay.
Captain Nasal.
I'd never heard that this was his pseudonym before. Mr. Nasal.
Oh, Mr. Sock, I thought you were telling me I'd completely messed up his name. He said Time of Your Life. I said 2024 because I think it's Inside Out 2.
I'm very amused by the fact that you think I would end what has been over a 2-hour-long whiteboard game talking about film music with a song from Inside Out 2.
Well, you've seen it, haven't you?
I haven't seen it.
I thought you... God, I've made that up in my head. I thought you went to see it. Fred, this is my favourite film. Jazz pop, because I don't really know how else you categorise Randy Newman. It's going to be a Disney number, probably. I don't remember it from Up. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I think, again, we have the privy of growing up in a time where the beautiful Disney era, Finding Nemo, Toy Story, those sort of films, we can watch them as kids and enjoy them as kids.
Yeah, when there weren't any other agendas or whatever. It was just, let's just make a banging film.
Yeah.
And they just made a banging film.
Exactly, yeah. This is A Bug's Life.
Of course! And this is the one I can't remember, and that's why I couldn't place it. Oh.
It is written by Randy Newman, yeah. I'm glad you remembered it, because there was a part of me that went back to these where I thought, oh yeah, it is Randy. Yeah, I've heard of Randy Newman. Yeah, I know exactly who that is. But if you were to have played me like a Disney song, I probably wouldn't have got it had I not gone back and found it. It is called Time of Your Life. Yeah, I put indie jazz/jazz, but I don't really know what his genres are.
I don't know.
They're not some sort of jazz.
Yeah.
Right. So you get 3 points for your answer. Very good.
Thank you.
It came out in 1998, which I think was it the film before Toy Story for Disney? I was Toy Story before Bug's Life.
Oh, I don't know.
Actually, do you know what? I want to say Toy Story's first, because Bug's Life is a lot. What do they call it? Like a live animation, and Toy Story is meant to be the first, right?
Let's have a look for you.
So I'm guessing Bug's Life was not before Toy Story.
Are you saying Bug's Life is 98?
Yeah.
Yeah, Toy Story was 96. It was released in the UK in 96.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Because I was sat there thinking, this is a live action film. It can't have been before Toy Story. Toy Story was the first. Yeah, I can't remember if this... I think this plays in the credits, and it might play at the start as well. I can't remember which way around. It is a... Sorry, my phone's going off. I'm getting distracted. It's a nice song, and I'm. Do you know what? It's something that I feel like. Well, especially now that we've made the Christmassy sort of song that you might hear at some point. Who knows?
Spoilers! Oh my gosh.
We've reharmonised something, right? And it was in that reharmonising where I really appreciated jazz, because I was sat there going, I can do whatever the hell I want here.
Yeah.
So long as it fits within the voicing, and that's what you can do in jazz, and that's basically what he does for like the first section of this song before the pre-chorus and the chorus. The verse sort of bit, the chords, they don't really fit, but they work, and he moves between them, and it's very fun, and I like that. A Bug's Life. I think I've mentioned to you before that this was a film I rewatched, because when I was younger...
I don't know why I didn't think of it. It's not too long ago you've spoken to me about it.
When I was a lot younger, I liked this film quite a bit. I think I watched it a lot. But it had moved out of my memory to the point of where, in my mind, I didn't really have a narrative. I only had stills from the film. I think that's what memory does. Yeah, there was just bugs. I had a still of Flick walking through the flowers. I had a still of the bird attacking some of the bugs. I had a still of the city. There's these things which, when you're watching it, it all connects together. But it was a weird experience, because I came away from it going, well, I didn't enjoy it, but I feel very weird. And I think I've come to the conclusion now that it was because it made me question my nostalgia I had for the film.
Which is a weird place to find yourself in.
It is, yeah, because you're sat there going, well, now I have context for all of these stills that I had in my mind, but they don't feel like they felt when I was younger. They feel different. And I think that I found that hard to understand.
To contend with, yeah. I get that.
Because again, don't get me wrong, I thought it was a good film. And I think after looking at the acclamation online, people seem to think it's a good film as well.
It seems to be very well received, yeah.
And
it's within that golden era, as you say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of animation generally.
It's beautiful, yeah. I think there's definitely parts of the film that I watch and I go, I don't really know how I feel about that. I find the caterpillar characters more annoying than likeable.
Is that another race thing?
I think the ending scene is actually quite dark, but I think they do it in a really good way.
I can't remember, so don't tell me, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with 2001, it was one where we were allowed to take a bit of sort of leeway with like saying things because of the amount that it's been used in pop culture,
and it's so vague anyway.
For example, Phineas and Ferb ruined the end of that film for me because they integrated it in an episode. But oh well. It works well. I think there's a good amount of emotion in the film. I think parts of it I think if it were made like later on, it could pang from very generic plot line, but because of the time it's made in, it's still a bit fresh, and I think maybe you could argue it hasn't aged as well as others like Toy Story, but I think it's still good. I won't say too much more other than that, other than I think this was well, first thing I'll say is there are definitely shots in which you look at it and go, yeah, the animation's got better now, because you're looking at it going, there should be a shadow there, but there isn't one. This doesn't really fit in place. So it can be a bit weird at points. It's still incredibly impressive. Because there's still parts of the animation that hold up today, and you'd think they, still do it today. But the thing I think I like the most about this film is the city. The city is, so basically they're all ants and they live on this very small island in like a creek.
Cool.
And there's one point where Flick is the main character. He goes off and he's meant to find some warrior bugs to help him fight these things. And he goes to the city. The city, by the way, is a pile of rubbish by like a derelict caravan. And when you go in, it's all busting. Like there's a lot of bugs, but all of the buildings are made out of like coffee cups.
Amazing.
And like packaging of things.
Amazing.
And I'm watching that going, A, it's creative, and B, this is a brilliant comment on city life.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. And that's where you'd find bugs as well hanging about. Like that is actually a bug city.
Yeah.
Very clever. I think they did that very well. Yeah, I think it was a good film. Very last thing I'll say is this was the beautiful era where Disney, at the end, throughout the credits, they've just have stills of like scenes from their film, and they'd sort of fade them out and fade them back in. I'm thinking Finding Nemo sort of vibes, which I realised the other day. It's not Randy Newman singing that; it's Robbie Williams, which I felt a little bit saddened to hear.
I need to refresh myself from that. Well.
But yeah,
what's he doing there?
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's not your typical. Well, I suppose he might be a bit of a crooner, but yeah, it's nice. And you're watching it go. That's the good nostalgia, because you're watching that going, yeah, I remember that, and that's nice. I suppose it stills, so it works. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think I gave you 3 points.
Yes, you did. You did.
Mm.
No, it's exactly that. It's just golden generation of animation and Disney and DreamWorks and all of that, when it was just, you couldn't touch it kind of thing. I think now it's not as consistent, unfortunately. I do like the Inside Out films, for example, but like...
I don't think I've watched them, to be fair. So.
But, well, I say that, I haven't watched two. One is good. I like one. It's sad, man. The sad bits. It's sad. But yeah, that sort of late 90s, early noughties DreamWorks Disney animation stuff. Untouchable. I don't want to say the GOAT, because then you've got like very early Disney stuff, like the original Cinderellas and Alice in Wonderlands and all of that, which I don't want to undermine, because that's hand drawn as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
Right. So not only are people learning about our music taste, you now know how awful our film tastes are as well.
We've come to an end of a very nice game.
Yeah, exactly, I agree.
Very enjoy it. It's been long again, because I feel like we were talking about a lot of stuff that we like. But
you're trying to balance good songs and good film conversations.
Of course, yeah. I think that was the thing that I thought, God, I really hope this doesn't go on for like 5 hours, because we're trying to juggle two things here. I think we've done okay, though. I
think we have done all right, yeah. I want to say it's that, which I thought I'd done a bit better.
I think I've got this. What I've put down is what I think I've got. Okay.
No, I am right. Okay.
All right.
Let me type that in. Right, scores on the doors. You ready?
Yeah.
Right. I got work to go to. Right. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Fair play.
Oh, wow, okay.
Fair play. I had a feeling you were pulling away, and I was right.
It was not as close. Well, it felt like a close game.
I told you, after that opening 5 points, it set a precedent I was never going to be able to keep up with. I have 22.5 points.
I got 27.5 points.
Congratulations, Chris. Well played.
GG.
Don't worry, Fred fans out there. I know you picked a side by now. The sun will shine on us again. Right, well, closing statements?
Well, first thing I want to say is I don't suppose you've noticed the Christmassy look to your episode currently. Anthony has done a Christmassy picture for the episode.
Ooh.
So it's not a Christmas edition, but it is Christmassy.
Oh, that's so special.
And so in light of that, I'm probably going to have to add some sleigh bells to the theme. And so we'll have a couple Christmassy...
Sleigh bells in 7.
A couple Christmassy episodes. And yeah, you can enjoy that. Don't have any other closing statements other than that. Come to our gigs.
Listen to our music. Thank you for joining us if you have done once again. If you've skipped to the end, we do know. And you've missed some very funny moments. Chris has said things.
Yeah, well...
We've both said things.
In some ways, I would be happy if you skipped to the
end. Anyway, I've been Frederick.
I've been Chris.
Thank you for joining us. This is for the next one. We'll see you then. Otherwise, the only thing we have left to say, as always, is...
Whiteboard game.
Forever.